It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Mike Elgin, Ashley Esquetha, and Sam Mascovich are here. Man, these guys are the kings of technology journalism. We're going to talk about the .com Super Bowl ads, high frame rate television, Apple Watch. In fact, Apple in general, we've got the Apple results, the Facebook results, the Alphabet results, the Amazon results. And what is Jeff Bezos up to with Amazon Health? We've got the answers next on Twit.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Twit, This Week in Tech, episode 652, recorded Sunday, February 4th, 2018. We're all out of kidneys. This Week in Tech is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Home plays a big role in your life. That's why Quicken Loans created Rocket Mortgage. It lets you apply simply and understand the entire mortgage process fully so you can be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. Get started at rocketmortgage.com/twit2. And by Casper, a sleep brand that continues to revolutionize its line of products to create an exceptionally comfortable sleep experience one night at a time. You can save $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/twit and using the promo code TWIT at checkout. And by Molecule. Molecule is the world's first molecular air purifier that reduces symptoms for allergy and asthma sufferers. For $75 off your first order, visit molecule.com and enter the promo code TWIT. And by Blue Apron, the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Check out this week's menu and get $30 off your first order with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/twit. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, the special Superb Owl edition. Joining us at the table, in person, Mr. Mike Elgin.
Finally, a seat at the table.
A seat at the table. He's in the room where it happens, elgin.com. Great to see you, Mike.
Great to see you, Leo.
Than's for coming on short notice.
My pleasure.
We had one of our panel fell out because of laryngitis.
Every Sunday, I have a go bag by the door.
You're ready?
I'm ready to go.
Boom.
So just give me a call and I'm here.
Well, you're going to be out of the country in a month or two, so we're going to take advantage of you every bit we can while you're here. Also joining us, it's great to have you, Ashley Esquetha. From CNET and place. I see you all over the place. Where's your glasses?
You know what? I have a scratch in the lenses. So
wait a minute. I see 20 pairs
all
behind you.
my glasses are here. I'm like, I just want to rest my eyes.
Rest your eyes. Rest your eyes.
Some days, because I need them for distance, and so this is right in front of me. So I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna rest my eyes today.
New show tomorrow daily. How's that going?
Oh, that's not new. That's old, and it got canceled a year and a half ago.
You can see I'm really keeping up.
but I will say there is something new launching this week on CNET that actually tomorrow morning. So
that's
if you
what
keep
I meant.
An eye on my Twitter handle. Yeah, you're just looking into the future. It's totally fine. You're just testing me, Leo, and I passed.
No, I was reading your bio
new.
on CNET's page, which says currently hosting the new show tomorrow daily. You might want to get them to update that.
I know. I have to email IT, I think, to have that fixed. I'm not really sure even how to fix that. I have no idea.
Jimmy's still your husband though, right?
He is still my husband.
Okay.
Yes,
you still play
true.
Diablo 3?
I play Diablo 3. Yeah, that is also true.
You greatly enjoy karaoke?
I still do greatly enjoy karaoke.
And I believe you're largely comprised of ham and cheese.
Yes.
Okay, just checking. So
accurate.
We'll just we'll blue pencil this here. Real quickly, just cross that. Currently hosting the new show tomorrow daily. We just redact that.
Currently hosting a new show that launches tomorrow on CNET.
And you're being cagey. You can't tell us the title or anything?
I'm just scared because if I do, I don't know if I'm allowed to. We haven't really announced it. So I think we're just posting it tomorrow to see what happens.
So where should we go? Just CNET.com? Will it be right on the front page there?
Well, actually, this might give away a little bit of it, but I would go to theroadshow.com.
You know what? I saw that on Instagram. I know that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm doing something fun with Roadshow, and I'm really excited about it actually because it's something I'm really into. And
we love Tim Stevens.
I love Tim. And I love Tim Stevens.
He was on the show
So
last week. He's awesome. Yeah.
We've been talking about this idea for months at this point, and so now we finally kind of got everything together. So I think it'll launch tomorrow around 10 a.m. Pacific.
Nice.
So.
Can't wait. Are you into cars?
I'm not a gearhead, however. I took auto shop in high school.
Good start.
I worked on my own, my very first car with my grandpa. We bought a shell of a car from somebody in the green sheet. And we worked on it together and replaced the transmission and like the interiors and all that stuff. So I really love cars, but I would say I am not super deep into them the way that a lot of car people are.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you're doing a show like that. Because it's like if you're on a gaming show and you say, no, I'm a gamer, they'll go, well.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Prove it.
Let me ask you a question then. Yeah, exactly.
Well.
So I wouldn't call myself a like a car person, but I do love cars. So
you're a car person.
That's where I would put myself.
In any normal world, you'd be a car person.
Yeah.
Also with us, Sam Meshkovich, tech culture editor, tech culture vulture at Ars Technica. Hello, Sam.
Good afternoon, everybody. Has everybody been doing their huts and hikes and 4-2s and I don't know what else happens?
It is
in
Super
sports?
Bowl Sunday. We're starting the show a little bit early so that we can get out of here just in time to see Justin Timberlake.
Oh goodness! Well, if his new album's any indication, you can probably just skip that and watch the Puppy Bowl instead.
Yeah, just skip it. Just really.
Plus, Puppy Bowl. I mean, Puppy Bowl's kind of an easy default anyway. You'd have to essentially make pet sounds to get me to tune away from the Puppy Bowl.
I have what I call the dog tagon, which is my two younger dogs that just fight each other all the time. They run around and bite each other in the neck because they're
dog
idiots.
Tagon. Who will enter? Two will enter. Only one will emerge. From
The
the
one
dog
that emerges
Tagon.
will be dressed by Tom Brady. So just
Yeah, exactly. By the way, UFC, if you're listening, you can totally have that idea for a very low fee, and you can just email me. It's fine. I'll sell it to you for cheap.
Actually, Animal Planet wants it, so the next time there's a big UFC match, they can counter-program it.
Isn't
they
dog
can't program. You got the
fighting
dog tagon.
Dog fighting is illegal. They're not fighting.
I see.
They're
just, it's like
playing.
they're
flopping
puppies. One of them's 3, the other one's a year old, and they just like they roll each other over like hard. They run into each other. It's like watching giraffes fight because I have 2 Italian greyhounds that have really long necks, and they like hit each other with their heads. Like it's
is this
terrible.
what the show is coming? You've got a show coming out tomorrow. Is that just your 2 dogs just getting into cuddle battles?
Honestly, if I could sell that, if I could sell it to CNET, I probably would do that.
Who remembers 1998's Super Bowl, the first .com ad ever? Does anybody remember who it was?
Was that one of the Pets.com ads?
Pets.com was early, but not then. This was even before Pets.com. It was the only one on that Super Bowl XXX2. 32.
Would you like to unfurl this knowledge for us, ye old man on top of the mountain?
I shall. It was a company that's still around called Auto Buy Tell.
Oh.
You're kidding.
I would not have ever guessed that.
Yeah. But then there was
the voice of Leonard Nimoy too. Amazing.
Yeah, you want
Spock.
You want to watch it? Here we go. Let's see. This is the first and it was I remember seeing this and going, "Wow, we've really come of
beginning
age."
of time, people wondered, why does car buying have to be such a pain?
Okay, that's enough of that. This is definitely
Oh boy. Wow.
Yeah, when does He-Man swoop in?
They spent money on the ad placement, but they obviously not on the ad. But the big Super Bowl, the .com Bowl, was in 2000, right before the bust. And that's why you remember Pets.com, because they were on them. E-Trade, Hot Jobs. How many of these are still around?
Right.
K-Force, LifeMinders.com, Monster.com, OurBeginning.com, Pets.com, WebEx, and WebMD.
Wow.
You want to see the pets?
And if I recall, the ads were fantastic.
They were all
hilarious.
I'm sure they were amazing.
God.
Lots of money.
Okay, Dino. I gotta go to a lot of stores to get what you like. I'll be back.
Partly this is 17 years ago. We just
What?
didn't. This is the Pets.com talking dog puppet.
Little
That's a
trivia.
crying turtle.
Yeah.
The voice of the Pets.com dog, comedian Michael Ian Black
Whoa!
from TV's The State and many other comedies ever since.
This is why we have Sam Meshkovich on the show.
Wow.
That was it. The first. And by the way, Pets.com went out of business when people realized it cost way too much to send clay kitty litter through the mail. You know, it's just like the kitty litter is worth 12 cents. It's $40 shipping.
It's an interesting time of our lives.
The biggest change, of course, is budgets. I mean, how much did that puppet cost?
That's a good point, because this year's Super Bowl, I think the ads are they were in excess of $2 million, right?
It's expensive.
I'm
It
gonna
might
be
be
curious
close
what
to 3.
I'll be curious what the day after stuff is. I feel like I feel like is the turning point of going online to watch the ads before they're on the Super Bowl. I just think so many companies have realized doing the banned ad and getting those up online beforehand. I know I've already seen Danny DeVito smothered in chocolate on the internet. I know I've seen Sprint's attempt to make a cyborgish thing that makes Sprint seem cool. You know, these things come out already. I don't need to watch the most obvious lopsided Super Bowl to come. Correct me if I'm wrong, future. To see these ads. So I'll be curious. That's what I think is going to be the interesting fallout, is how many people just rush to YouTube instead of watching the Super Bowl, especially if people don't care about, you know, East Coast versus East Coast.
Everyone
Super Bowl.
has already seen the Amazon
By the time
ad,
this show is over, there are definitely going to be an angry mob coming to your house to get you for those lopsided comments.
What are you talking about, basketball?
I'm just hoping that they try to climb the poles near my house. I don't know if you guys saw that. Apparently, the city of Philadelphia, they're been Criscoing all the poles around Philadelphia.
Oh, that's
it's a great
crazy.
story.
Win or lose, the city is going to catch on fire.
So there will be a lot of .com ads on the Super Bowl this year. Super Bowl 52. This is from Ad Age. Wix.com website, right? They're competing directly against our former sponsor, Squarespace.com.
Yeah.
Squarespace has hired Keanu Reeves.
Huh.
Squarespace told us that it was too much to advertise on Twit, so they're spending what must be upwards of $5 million on one ad on the Super Bowl, given Keanu's fee.
Quick thing about Wix, if I may. I believe that was the URL of Windows Magazine's social network. Or
what?
Message
and
board.
then they got it?
Yeah, because that was closed in like 2000 or something like that.
Wix will save money. Instead of getting Keanu Reeves for their ad, they've got Rhett and Link. Actually, Rhett and Link might be more expensive than Keanu Reeves. In 2017, they had Jason Statham and Gal Gadot. Nice.
Before she blew up.
Yeah.
She's the best.
Oh, she is. Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah.
Still haven't seen that. HBO time.
What?
I know.
Hold on. Let's just cancel this episode so you can go watch a really good movie.
No, I'm saving it.
We're going to cut to all of Wonder Woman in its entirety to replace Twit for the day.
Leo hasn't seen it. T-Mobile will buy a 60. That's twice as expensive, right? That's really expensive.
Wow.
Kerry Washington from Scandal will be somehow involved. We don't know how. Quicken
John
Loans,
Ledger's
one of our
spending that
sponsors, Rocket Mortgage. You're buying a Super Bowl ad. It's their first Super Bowl ad in 3 years.
Just play one of your ads.
Yeah, I know. They just have me do that one.
60 seconds of you talking.
You'll do it for $5 million. I mean,
T-Mobile bought a minute. Sprint bought 2 15s, both featuring Evelyn, a robot. I'll be looking for that. Wendy's. Actually, I'm looking. There's a rap battle between Peter Dinklage of Game of Thrones, the Imp.
That's a good ad.
Versus Morgan Freeman, right?
Yeah.
Who's that for?
It's Doritos and Mountain Dew.
I was just testing you to see, because sometimes these great ads, you remember the ad and you have no idea what it was an ad for.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. I really love that one.
Amazon's going to buy an Echo series of Echo ads, including
going to set off every Echo in the nation. I'm sure.
Because we found out how they do it. They actually, I thought they were doing like an inaudible tone or something over the A word when they did it, because we can't say the A word because it will trigger your Echo. But we have to try this. We're going to try this in editing. They take out. They notch the frequencies between, I think it was 3,000 and 6,000 kilohertz, which is enough to, I'm not sure if they've taught the Echo just ignore it if you don't hear it, or it's right where the human voice is, or it's just, somehow it's modifying it sufficiently that it will not, they say, trigger echoes. And then, they don't, not only is it a bad PR, black mark, they don't want to trigger echoes because imagine there's more than 100 million people watching. 100 million simultaneous requests to Amazon servers would not be good.
And you're suddenly not paying attention to the ad. You're now like trying to turn off your Amazon and stuff.
Yeah. You're
I'll tell you,
shut
it'd be a genius promotion if they just had something where if you had a device and the buzz phrase played, then everyone got a coupon. Like that to me would be an amazing combination: stress test and promotional stuff.
Here's my question.
Just giving you that one for free, guys.
Yeah.
Here's my question: are they able to tell who's watching the ad? Because if you are a subscriber to,
of course they
if you have
can.
an Echo, they know exactly who you are.
What? You think Amazon
What
is
house
interested
you're
in
in,
personal
what your
data
address
of how you live?
No, they just are.
They
intrusive.
don't. I'll tell you why I don't
course.
believe they actually do that, because they would have to stream that data back to Amazon. Right now, the way the Echo and all these devices work, they're not communicating with a home office. They're just listening for a trigger word to match in their internal memory.
Right.
And then anything said after the trigger word gets sent back.
Right.
In order for them to know that you saw that ad, they'd have to actually be listening all the time. That would be so controversial.
Uh-huh.
Well, they do a lot of controversial things.
Well,
they, you know, they
Yeah, and
always
who knows
have.
what's in that EULA in terms of what it can and cannot pick up. I
remember
mean,
the
let's go scrolling through that.
Yeah, remember the Fire Phone. So when the Fire Phone had a single button to either take a picture of a product.
By the way, that's going to be Jeff Bezos' epitaph.
information.
Remember the Fire Phone?
Yeah, remember the Fire Phone. But the single button turned on the camera, the audio, the everything. So if you were taking a picture of something, it sent the audio.
Right.
Some number of seconds.
Boy, another reason not to get that phone.
Right. Well, but I mean, the point is they didn't announce that. We had to figure that out.
Yeah.
And so we don't know what they're doing. What we do know is there's 100% certainty that they could do that very easily. Whether they would choose to not do that, but they could do that.
This ad looks
trivial.
This ad was a 90-second ad in the fourth quarter. So that's got to be that's a lot of money, right?
Well, they made a lot of money last quarter, so
They
they can
afford
afford it.
Yeah, we'll talk about quarterly results in a bit, by the way.
That's like pocket change for Amazon.
The spot was released last Wednesday. That's to me, I wish they wouldn't.
Yep. Surprise us.
But apparently Bezos is in it. Amazon's A-word has lost her voice.
Yes.
And Cardi B and Gordon Ramsay and other celebrities pitch in to do the voice. You wouldn't want Gordon Ramsay on your Amazon.
Well, yeah.
My mother would love
cooking
that.
And he
oh,
answers
look,
the cooking
I
one.
love her.
Yeah,
she's
Rebel
hilarious.
Wilson.
Rebel
That's
Wilson.
a good one.
Couldn't remember her name.
My mother is obsessed
it's
with
a good
having
ad.
the custom voices on any driving app that my mother uses. Whatever custom voice she can have. She even had Snoop Dogg on one of her driving apps for a while. She's like, I don't know who he is, but this is so fun.
I had
love that
Elvis
so
on,
much.
I think it was a Waze.
the next street. Hulu will have an ad. Verizon, first time since 2011. The company declined to describe its plans further.
Jeez, very secretive.
Not disclosed agency, not disclosed creative, not disclosed. Nothing.
It's just going to pop up and
They have
say,
a
we
USB.
own you, Verizon. The end.
Yeah, Verizon.
Yeah. It's going to be a USB chain to an ad executive. Has to run it, get it into the network at the last minute. Here it is.
Here, we got it. I just pulled it off the Mac.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't have the guy from Silicon Valley. Those Verizon ads are driving me nuts, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm a little tired of
Tired of
Thomas
those.
Middleditch. I'm not.
Thomas Middleditch. See, I don't know
skip
anybody's
that.
name. Your husband's lucky. Do you do that for your husband? Does he say,
Yes.
who's that? I saw, and you go, oh yeah, that's Thomas Middleditch.
I'm literally just like the memory bank of this entire household.
Yeah.
Just remember everything.
I knew that about you. For some reason, Ashley, I knew that you knew all those names.
We'll call you next time we can't think
You
of
gotta-
somebody.
You got like a good pair of culture vultures over here for your guests.
Yeah, I know. Iggy Azalea will be in the Monster ad promoting their
she's
new
fan.
wireless headphones. I think her 15 minutes were over a couple of years ago, weren't they? Maybe not. I don't know.
I think so. I think we
Nah,
did.
she's still racking up the YouTube hits with those kids who eat the Tide Pods. Is Tide going to talk about
Yes.
Tide Pod consumption in their ad? By the way,
Yeah,
that's my
I'm
real
going to talk
question.
about Tide Pods. That's a real question for me.
They do have an ad. Wow.
Be a great time for them
Why
to
don't they
make
just
it.
discontinue those?
No way. They're just too delicious.
Yeah,
Stop it. Don't say that. Do
Girl
not
Scout
eat
cookies
Tide
this
Pods.
Year, the new flavor is Tide Pods.
They're not delicious. They could kill you.
Yeah, that's going to be the combination Doritos, Mountain Dew, Tide Pod.
Tide
Chain
Pods.
all three
Yeah.
together.
What do you do if you're Tide? Do you acknowledge the Tide Pod issue?
You
They
have
have
to.
done.
Acknowledge. They've had to say like, please don't eat them. But the thing is that's sort of like the Streisand effect, just a little bit. Like,
I think we
Maybe
just let
just
Darwin take its
maybe just
course.
discontinue
frankly.
Yeah, I was about to
them
say, let's let this naturally take out
That's right.
a little bit of the
Nature has
population.
provided a solution.
If
for
you
that.
do an ad that reaches 100 million people that says, please do not eat Tide Pods,
people are going to try
everybody's
them.
gonna eat them. Yeah.
10,000 people are going to eat them.
Yeah. You can't.
Because they're going to
Yeah.
say, well, why shouldn't I? Or I'm not letting you
Wow,
tell me what to
people
do.
are eating them? I must be able to eat
I
them.
haven't tried that.
Yeah, no.
They probably don't want me to eat them for probably they're trying to hide how great they are. That's probably it.
I'm old enough
So-
to
the old
remember
classic
when
Tide
washing a
Pod.
child's mouth out with soap was good parenting.
Yeah.
It's easier. Here,
Groupon.
eat this Tide Pod.
Is Groupon still a thing?
They are advertising like
Tiffany
crazy on
Haddish.
YouTube as of late.
Tiffany
Yeah.
Haddish.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Tiffany Haddish, that appearance, I mean, she's like a Groupon spokesperson now. And she's amazing and hilarious. You should get her on this show.
So please be my memory bank. Tiffany Haddish, who's she?
She's a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
And she was in Girls Trip last year.
You
So
never knew
funny.
who that
Oh my
was.
God.
Isn't that
Had a
so,
really
so
good
funny.
SNL hosting gig just a little while ago as well.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Great job
She's
on
doing
SNL.
very well right now.
Yeah.
See these guys, they know it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
She's a best-selling author. She wrote a really great book. The
She
last
told
one,
a story
Unicorn.
about
She's awesome.
taking Will and Jada Pinkett Smith on a swamp tour in Louisiana that she bought on Groupon. That was on
Yeah.
Kimmel. That went viral.
Yeah.
So
Very funny.
She apparently will be in the Super Bowl spot.
Oh, she should be. She's the best thing. So, Leo, if you haven't heard the story of her taking Will and Jada on this swamp tour, she tells Jada Pinkett Smith, like, I have a swamp tour Groupon, like a boat tour.
Yeah.
And Jada's like, oh, yeah, okay, we'll go with you. And so I guess, like, she picks up Will and Jada Smith in her car, like her Corolla or whatever, and she's driving them over there. And she's like, and we get there, and it's a Groupon. So there's tons of other people there for the swamp tour. And Jada's like, why are there so many people here? And she's like, it's a Groupon, Jada. And she goes, she doesn't know what a Groupon was. Jada Pinkett Smith didn't know what a Groupon was. She goes, I thought you said like you would have a group to go on this boat, like this private boat. And they were just in public they hadn't like done stuff in public with a group of people in public in a really long time. And so they went on this swamp tour. It's a really funny story. Highly recommended.
I will
And
watch
she
Clearly,
tells
Groupon
it-
needs to advertise to get this name recognition out to
honestly,
high-level celebrities.
And I cover tech,
She tells
right?
it so beautifully.
I thought they
She
were out
tells
of
it so
business.
Yeah.
I thought the Groupon model was a flop.
That's
they're
they've been
doing
on
real well.
our death wish for list
Death
for
watch.
a while. Death watch list, yeah.
Because
we've been predicting their end for a while.
Companies have said they're the worst customer. The customers we get from Groupon, they don't come back. They're
Are the worst.
cheap.
Yeah.
Right.
They're the worst. We don't want these people, and we lose money on these Groupon deals. It's a bad. So I'm surprised they're still in business, let alone buying ads on the Super Bowl for millions.
The
of
swamp
dollars.
tour operators are happy with Groupon.
I'm telling you, I really believe that Tiffany Haddish appearance like revitalized Groupon.
Maybe that's it. They're jumping on
crazy.
the Tiffany Haddish bandwagon.
Who
So
knew?
the best
You should.
story of this all though is TiVo. TiVo announced, they have a feature which I actually really love. When you DVR something on your TiVo, not all shows, but some shows, Jeopardy's one of them, you can press the D button when a commercial comes on, it skips to the end of the commercial. I don't know how they get away with this. This is what put Replay TV out of business, right? The network sued them, killed them.
It's interesting.
Somehow TiVo gets to do this. So you press the D button and it'll say, you can skip commercials, but it's not on every show. So I feel like almost like they're getting permission
Yeah.
or something.
Paying for it, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe they're
yeah,
paying
maybe
for
they're
it.
paying for it. Yeah.
So they announced, we're going to do the opposite on the Super Bowl. We're going to let you skip the game
Ha! Brilliant.
and go right to the commercial.
Brilliant.
I love it.
I think that's going to get some real use. I'm TiVoing it. Although they've spoiled it really because you can see there are only a few companies that just don't say anything about their ads ahead of time.
I wonder what the NFL thinks about that one.
Bet they
Why would
love
the
it.
NFL care? Because
as long as people are watching the ads, that's all
Right.
the NFL cares
That's a
about.
good point.
yeah, and they get their
True.
2 million plus per ad.
It enables them to get a new audience, people who hate sports, who normally avoid the Super Bowl.
I'll tell you though, the thing that bums me out about this Super Bowl, still no 4K. We're in 2018.
Yeah.
When will any professional sports league step it up and say, hey, internet connected world, here's a higher resolution, brand new spanking cameras, get you close to the game. The NFL has had a real problem with viewership numbers for the past year plus with every different controversy in the mix. Why have they not turned to technology so that when you see those Best Buy commercials for get the TV for the big game, and then the big game is barely in 1080p resolution. Sometimes it's only 1080i, depending on your provider and all that. Like, I don't understand. I've looked everywhere for someone to talk about this, and maybe I'm the only person who cares since I have a perfectly nice high pixel TV. But how do they not make this happen? Why is this not the story for at least us super geeks?
I could come up with a couple of reasons. First of all, they don't shoot it in 4K. They shoot it in HD.
They have upgraded the fleet of cameras. They've talked about this.
So they can't. They are shooting it in 4K.
They have 8K cameras down.
No. But those 8K cameras, they don't use as 8K cameras. They use them so that they can selectively zoom in.
Yeah.
Right. But they have that stuff. So 8K can zoom in, but that's still, you've got 4K sort of as a possibility.
Well, remember, the NBC cannot broadcast in 4K. No, there are no broadcast. There is a standard ATSC3 or whatever it is, but nobody's doing it. They just, frankly, bought a lot of new transmitters and stuff for HD not so many years ago.
What you're saying is they're not motivated to make the internet better than
cable companies NBC. Can do 4K, but they don't like to do 4K because, again, they don't. That uses up bandwidth. Comcast is going to show some of the Winter Olympics in 4K. Streaming, I don't think it's going to show it as
not
live.
Not live.
Yeah. None of the whole broadcasting over the air spec has to be upgraded. But I still just feel like that's the one confluence of all these media companies joining forces with all these internet service providers that I would like to see is them all at least combine forces and give you some internet sports 4K-ness. So I'm just throwing that out there.
This is, though, what we see all the time, which is you have an incumbent, you have the NFL, you have incumbent networks. There's a lot of money here. They really are careful of the franchise. Remember, Verizon had an exclusive for a couple of years where if you had a Verizon phone, you could watch the Super Bowl on your Verizon phone. This year, there is more streaming. I can watch it on YouTube TV.
Right.
I imagine Hulu and Sling and PlayStation View, I would imagine that if you have locals, you'd be able to watch the Super Bowl on those. So there are more streaming
that's what we're
solutions.
Watching it on.
Yeah.
But there's no competition. There's an automatic monopoly. Somebody's got a monopoly on.
Well, clearly NFL,
right?
And they're incumbents. They don't. They're reluctant, I think, to undermine their power here.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of effort, and if they don't need to, then why would they? Yeah, there's no incentive.
There's this one guy named Sam who's bitching. Everybody else says HD. That's great.
I'll be curious to see what the viewership numbers are, just because the NFL's been on a downward trend. The Super Bowl may be that total anomaly blip where people tune in no matter what. So I'll be curious to see.
Right.
You know who we will not see on a Super Bowl ad? I can pretty much promise is Colin Kaepernick. Not going to be on a Super Bowl ad.
Right.
By the way, got the price very much wrong. $5 million for a 30-second ad.
Get the pinky.
T-Mobile spending $10 million.
$5 million. In 2002, it was $1.9 million. I'm way behind the times.
You're back in pets.com land.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think the last time I read it, it was like 3. So it's gone up since even the last time I read about it.
It goes up, of course, as you get closer to the game. And there were some. This is as of January 14th when there's still some slots open. They said, but you're going to pay $5 million.
That's 50 Cent will just pay for his spot with Bitcoin anyway, so it's fine.
Well, here's the irony. That's actually that's $5 million more than the Eagles paid their quarterback Nick Foles for 2017. His contract's just under $5 million.
30 seconds.
30 seconds of TV time, and you get paid.
That's not even counting the production.
Right.
Of the ad.
So if
hire an ad
Squarespace,
company
how much is Keanu Reeves to make an ad? He's $1 million, right? Keanu doesn't get out of bed for less than $1 million. So you got $5 million, $1 million, and then another $1 million in production.
Right.
The thing is, it depends on the ad. I mean, the Doritos Mountain Dew one with Peter Dinklage and Morgan Freeman, that's way more than $1 million to shoot that.
Mary J. Blige is on that too, right?
It's like no, I think it's Missy Elliott.
Missy Elliott. Yes.
But it's literally like 4 very famous people. It has special effects. There's pyrotechnics. They're on different sets. Like it's the production value of it, not to mention the cost of having an ad agency create these things that you're paying them to do. I mean, at minimum, I would imagine a 30-second spot, if you're paying $5 million for it, you're going to want to go all in.
Sure.
So like Amazon with Cardi B, and they have Rebel Wilson and like all these other people, you're probably spending over 10 to $20 million on this.
How about the good old days of sock puppets, man? You know, just when companies could just have reasonable Super Bowl commercials. I miss those days.
Sock puppets are cheap.
Way cheaper than
I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away. Better know that I don't and I won't ever stop, cause you know I gotta win every day. See, you really wanna pop me. Just know that you will never flop me. And I know that I gotta be a little cocky. You ain't never gonna
that's Busta Rhymes.
Yes, as Peter Dinklage is lip syncing Busta Rhymes, who's in a portrait frame. And then everything's on fire.
Blaze, a bold new flavor that brings the heat.
And
I
it
just
goes
wish
to
Busta
the
Bus
gold
could have
site.
been out there.
This is Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman so much.
This is Missy Elliott.
Is this a second ad or the same ad?
Same ad.
Like a combo. Corporate synergy.
It's all PepsiCo, right?
Yeah.
But you don't do the ad for the 30 seconds. You do it for what we just did. You get it for all the buzz, the talk.
Replay value.
The replay value.
The water cooler talk. Well, that's why I'm so curious as to why they stopped just being secretive about it and then airing them the day of, because that's a thing you would talk about the next day at the office. And
but
now,
this way you're talking about it for all week long and the week
I guess,
before.
but do you feel like if it comes out on Wednesday before the Super Bowl, it's kind of old news, considering how fast the news cycle is on the internet at this point?
Like we've
you
all
put it out
seen
on
it.
Wednesday, we've seen it. It's over.
Yeah.
I think ultimately there's a sense of global impact, especially when you're talking about Doritos, Mountain Dew, these global brands. So, getting something out there and having that talked about all over the world, spread across YouTube and every domain and every Chinese video provider, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My guess is there's a bazillion pounds of data that tells these companies exactly when and how to drop these ads.
I think you have to point to YouTube as a big factor in this, because I don't know, we should look at the YouTube viewer numbers, but probably 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, probably over the week that it's on you. Big, and even though
millions of views.
Millions anyway. We know that some of those numbers, I don't know, YouTube numbers seem slightly inflated. Maybe it's one 14-year-old in Bloomington watching it 100,000 times. I don't know. But to an ad agency or to a big brand, they think of those as comparable to the number of people watching the Super Bowl. So there really
and plus
is.
the numbers you get off of YouTube are definitely more reliable than Nielsen estimates.
Are they?
I mean, even if you talk about click inflation and these things on the internet, that's still better than Nielsen's just been running this decades-old predictor forever. I've always wondered at what point that glass house is going to shatter and fall, but
they're trying really hard to convert to digital and VOD and all this stuff, but it's just they waited so long.
For a long time, they didn't mention on demand.
No, not at all.
They didn't measure DVR or anything.
Yeah, that Doritos commercial, by the way, Doritos versus Mountain Dew has 2.3 million views.
Okay,
as of
that's
today,
not huge, but it's
right now.
It's not quite to knock, but it's getting there.
What's to
Alexa
knock?
losing? Her losing her voice. That 90-second ad, 21 million.
Whoa.
Views.
Okay. See, that's
that went
numbers.
up. The 31st went up about a week ago.
And I think you make an interesting point that Amazon, even though they know YouTube numbers, whatever, that's real. That's somebody pressed play and watched it. So that's a real number to them. Sure. That actually is the big challenge. We're going to talk about it a little bit when we talk about Facebook's results, Google and Facebook. That's the real challenge faced by TV at this point, and why the NFL probably is secretly shaking in their boots, is that these ad aid companies like Google and Facebook know so much more and can give you so much better metrics than any television ad, and can target so much better, in effect be so much more efficient than any TV ad. You don't get, and maybe this is the last stand for the TV ad, where it's a big deal and people are talking about it and you get all these views and other platforms. But I have to think an ad on, episode 5 of Everybody Loves Raymond is not nearly as efficient as buying Google or Facebook.
No way.
Yeah, no.
And it's the live. I mean, the live event stuff is the major exception that every TV network is crazy about. And so even with that involved, it still ends up being, well, people are going to talk about it and gather together, but we got to put it everywhere. We got to take advantage of every possibility. We have to be on every social network. We have to legitimize the fact that we're paying somebody's salary to have a social media role on our team, blah, blah, blah. It's everybody's throwing crap in every direction and trying to make video impressions stick in the best way possible. And I think, in the next 5 years, we're going to see all of this stuff shift in such a major way as more people just go, oh, I do have other ways to watch TV, because there still are people who are not cutting the cord, and that is just going to change and change and change.
Yeah, it'll just those people will keep getting older and older and stop watching TV. Like, really, I mean, or just,
we watch more TV. The old folks watch more TV.
But I think it's like in the way of like stop seeking new TV.
Right.
Like they watch what they're familiar with, and then like my grandpa. It's like I think maybe 15 years ago he might have been interested in watching like a show, and now it's like really live sports. It's baseball and football, and that's the stuff he watches. And it's like that's pretty much it.
I'm still convinced that CBS's ratings mostly are constituted of old folks who've forgotten to turn the channel off and they've nodded off while watching.
I saw a tweet today that said CNN and Fox News are doing to our parents what our parents thought video games would do to us.
That's a really good point. That is they're making them violent and antisocial.
Exactly.
And angry.
Here's a stat we'll close with. By the time the average American reaches 65, he or she will have watched 9 years of television.
That's depressing.
9 years.
How many ads?
And they probably still
I feel like I've already watched 9 years of television. I'm going to be honest with you.
Ashley,
I think I've watched 9 years of Breaking Bad. I've just watched it over and over again.
As usual, an
9 years of
overachiever.
I feel like I've watched there's like 3 series that I've watched multiple times. I feel like that's 9 years of my time.
I want to watch Breaking Bad again. It's arguably one of the best series ever made. But I also
it's so good in 4K.
Can you watch it again? Really? I feel like I saw it.
Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah. I just read a book about Breaking Bad. So Alan Sepinwall is this really great TV critic, and he wrote this compendium this companion book called Breaking Bad 101. And so I read it, and then I went back and watched the episodes along with like each of his sort of episode rundowns about the artistic choices in the episode and things like that. And I thought it was really cool how. Without giving away any spoilers, if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, anybody out there, how the last 4 episodes are pretty widely considered to be like the greatest 4 final episodes of television.
Yes.
I mean, just it is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. And he says in the book, he's like, I think it's really interesting that if you look at each one of those episodes, they each are sort of their own ending to the show. Like you have sort of a lawful ending and then like a chaos ending and a nihilist ending. Like each episode has these very specific themes and could very well on their own be considered the end of the show.
I like the chaotic good ending. That's my favorite.
Yes. Yeah, being able to watch them after having read this really excellent breakdown of the series. Like really, it was very enriching for me. So I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it's so beautiful.
I didn't know it was in 4K.
Hey, what are we going on about 4K for? Who cares about 4K?
I care. I admit it.
Just saying.
I care about my narrative television, but like live TV, like sports, I'm just like I don't care. Like, do we care?
Yes,
I care.
They're all running
What's going to
around
happen when they
each other.
finally
Like,
roll
that's
it?
what it is.
When they finally roll it out, we'll all be convinced. I could go on and derail the entire show. Well, just tune into my special
60 frames,
Sam Begs the
like,
NFL podcast.
You will be happy in 2020.
I feel like frames is more important.
You'll be happy in 2020. Yes, I agree with you, Ashley. Actually, it is more important. You'll be happy, though, 8K for the Summer Olympics in 2020.
I'm into it.
By then, I'm going to want 20K.
You know why? Coming from Japan, and that's the land of tomorrow.
Yep. It's the future.
They live in the future.
It's the future.
They literally live in the future. They're doing it right now. It's way beyond. They've already watched the Super Bowl.
High frame rate is interesting. Did you see? I bought the UHD HDR DVD of Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, which Ang Lee intentionally shot at 120 frames. He didn't have anybody wear makeup.
Is it disturbing?
It's disturbing.
Yeah.
Because
it looks very cheap.
Yeah, it looks like video.
They shoot it that way.
VHS or something.
Your first reaction is, it's like a soap opera. It's like cheap. Yeah. And you see actors that you've been seeing for years in all their warts and all, and it's kind of like disconcerting. Like, wow, she's got a lot of freckles.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, I noticed over the period of the movie, I kind of had to forget that. And then it's and this is what Ang Lee was going for, very engaging because it's like watching real people.
Yeah.
It's like you're looking like this is going on right here.
Isn't that
do
how
like
Peter
HFR.
Jackson shot The Hobbit?
Yeah,
like
but
in
people
48
complained because they
frames?
said it looked like Gandalf's staff was bought at Wizards R Us and stuff. I mean, it looked.
Yeah, that was 48
maybe high
hertz, so
fantasy
double.
is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was because that was double
maybe that's
projector
not really
rate.
maybe high fantasy is not the right
Well,
right genre for that.
I think they haven't figured out what to do with the technology. I think once you have something that sort of fast moving in HD, you can tweak it digitally to selectively make things a little on the blurry side, a little on the sharp side. You can enhance fake 3D.
You can make it
sense.
more
You
magical.
can do all kinds of things, and they're
you
not
can
doing
add,
it.
you can't take away if you have ghosting.
Ang
I
Lee
think
was doing very consciously. He was using very wide lenses, getting very close to the actors. They were often looking right at you, at the camera. He was intentionally playing off of this hyper real.
Right.
So he didn't, and that's why no makeup. He didn't want it to look like fantasy. He wanted you to be engaged with Billy Lynn's reality. And it is disconcerting. It's not what we're used to. It's not movie-ish, but I think it worked. I think it was very interesting. By the way, I would say if you can, and I'm sure every 4K TV now is high dynamic range, right, Sam? I think so.
It's pretty much, if you're on the market now, HDR is becoming pretty standard for those, yeah.
We were talking about Altered Carbon before the show, which is the new Netflix sci-fi show. Great novel, which everybody should read first because it's a great sci-fi novel. But I thought that it was beautiful, and it was HDR. And man,
oh yeah, they've got those Blade Runner-esque cityscapes that just pop with all of that light.
Yeah, I mean it's a dark cityscape, and there's headlights, and the headlights make you squint like in real life because they're so bright compared to the dark. It's very well done.
It's really nice.
In that
I'm
regard.
so sad. I bought my 4K TV right before they all just by default started coming with HDR, and I was like, "What have I done?" I was like, I bought this 70-inch, beautiful 70-inch 4K TV, and then
throw it in the trash.
5 months later,
garbage.
CES, everybody's like, "It's all about HDR," and I was like, "I hate everything in the universe right now."
HDR is more important, in my opinion, than 4K. You'll get 4K.
Yeah,
but
I agree. Yeah. I agree, and it's so frustrating. I'm like, what have I done?
Yeah.
With the more pixels and more color information, that is where the sweet spot comes. I will say about high frame rate, just real quick, video games are going to be one of the things that leads that, because when you control, when you are the director and cinematographer, there's that. And there's one other form of video that I think high frame rate will.
I know which one you're thinking of. And
the one that drives every single video technology in the world.
Let me just say this. It's a little too realistic.
Yes.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, sure. All right, we're going to take a break. Enough of this. This has been too much fun talking about media, but we got Sam and Ashley. We got to do it. But we're going to move over to the quarterly results. They're in, and I think we will have things to say about that. Lots more to talk about. A great episode. Mike Elgin is here from Computer World and Fast Company, Elgin.com. Good friend of the show, and it was always great to see him before he heads out back on the road. You're going to Italy next.
We're first going to go to France, then to Italy, then back to France.
Oh, shucks.
Somebody's got to do it, Leo. One's not going to do it itself.
She is with CNET and is going to be on something very exciting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Go to cnet.com and download the new show, whatever it is.
Yes. If you like electric cars, it might be.
Oh, I'm going to be so jealous if you get that beat. I drive a Tesla. I wanted to do an electric car show. I'm
waiting for my Model 3. I pre-ordered it on my birthday, 2 years ago.
Did you get the build invite?
First day.
You must have gotten the build invite.
Not yet. I'm a non-owner, so I'm a non-existing owner. So I'm waiting for those non-owner invites to go out. I feel good about February though. I really, genuinely, I do.
Pro tip. You don't want to get a Tesla, any new model Tesla for the first year, so that's fine.
Well, it's not like I think I will.
Well, let's just put it this way. The longer you wait, the better.
The longer you wait, it's better. Yeah, that's what I've heard from just about everybody. Yeah. So I'm totally fine waiting. I'm very excited about it. And I pre-ordered it. I was a day one pre-order in store on March 31st of 2016. So, and now my birthday is March 31st. So I'm like, if I can just get my Model 3 in time for my birthday, I'll feel really good about it. But I am really excited. I got to ride in the review model that Tim rode.
Nice.
And by the way, if you guys have not seen our Model 3 review on Roadshow, it is shot so beautifully. The video is insane. They had drones. They took it's so nice. The video is absolutely stunning. You should go watch it.
Is it in 4K?
Probably.
I have no idea. Great question. I have no idea.
We're going to have to up our game. I'm about to get a drone in the studio just floating there.
Yeah, you should. Instead of a jib, you could have a drone. That's what you could do.
Sure, that's what all the cool kids are doing. From Ars Technica, he's their culture vulture, Sam Meshkovich. Great to have all three of you here. Our show today, I'm not going to be able to do the Super Bowl version of this ad.
You could try.
I don't have Missy Elliott here. I don't have Morgan Freeman here, but I am a fan of Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage. Yes, they're going to be on the Super Bowl this year. Quicken Loans, it's Dan Gilbert. He's a brilliant guy. Founded Quicken Loans in the 90s as, I think, Rock Capital, something like that. Sold it to Quicken in 1999, bought it back in 2002, said, no, I'm taking it back. I want to do my own thing. He's the guy who's he's revitalizing downtown Detroit. Brilliant guy. And he is a high-tech guy. So he took Quicken Loans and he said, you know what we need? We need to modernize the loan approval process. We need to put it online because there's a group of people, you guys, who would do that. Don't want to go to a bank to get a loan. Don't want to go to the attic to get the paperwork, the pay stubs and the balances and the bank statements for 14 years ago. They don't want to do that. That's why he created Rocket Mortgage. And I love it. RocketMortgage.com/twit2. It's all online. In fact, it's so much online you could do it on your phone. You could do it at an open house. You could do it like while you're buying a house. You just go to RocketMortgage.com/twit2. In fact, you can do that right now. Set up the account so you'll be ready. If you're in the market for a house or you're thinking about a refi, then when it comes time and you say, all right, time to get the loan, you give them basic information you know in your head. They, because they have trusted relationships with all the financial institutions, get everything else they need, with your permission, of course. And then they crunch the numbers, and all of this just takes a minute or two. And then they say, based on income, assets, and credits, you qualify for these home loans. You choose the rate, you choose the term, you choose the down payment. You press go, and that's it. 2-3 minutes later, tops, you are approved. Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Watch the Super Bowl ad. I'm sure they'll do this in a much more sexy fashion. RocketMortgage.com/twit and the number 2. RocketMortgage.com/twit2. But you know what'd be funny is if you watched the Super Bowl ad and then went to RocketMortgage.com/twit2. That would make me really happy.
Perfect. Are you like I would have done that ad and been like, are you a multi-Super Bowl winning quarterback who's looking for their 12th home?
Tom Brady.
Don't have the time
Tom
to apply
Brady.
for mortgage?
Yep.
Rocket Mortgage.
Right.
By Quicken Loans.
Get Giselle to do it. It's easy.
Yeah.
He's still married to her, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, just checking. I don't keep up on this stuff. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states at MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030. Rocket Mortgage. Tell Giselle, Tom. RocketMortgage.com/twit2. House number 13. It's going to be the easiest house you ever bought. Or maybe refi all the other ones.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Please.
So many options.
If you see the Rocket Mortgage ad in the Super Bowl, right when the ad plays, go to RocketMortgage.com/twit2. Just do that for me, will you? make me very, very, very happy.
I went to an unnamed service provider recently, and I thought, is this company still a Twit advertiser? And I put in Twit as the offer code, and man, nice. I got a huge discount. It was amazing.
And you're helping us a lot. It really helps us a lot. We can't compete with all the kids out there and their Googles and their Facebooks and all that stuff. We're kind of old fashioned that way. By the way, let's talk about the quarter. It was, I think, in general, a couple of things I can summarize. Apple's results came out. Facebook's results came out. Alphabet/Google's results came out. Amazon, eBay, all the companies come out with their results for the quarter ending December. And I think one thing you could say, they all made a lot of money.
Tons of money.
Tons of money. It was like a great quarter for everybody. They all paid a lot more in taxes because of the new tax bill. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that when they say, well, we had to pay, I think it was Google paid $9.9 billion more in taxes, it's because they're repatriating hundreds of billions of dollars.
There's a temporary hit, but a long-term gain from tax change.
Yep.
So you will see that. And there's some companies like, I think Etsy, eBay, maybe it was eBay. Lenovo lost money in the quarter because of these one-time tax costs. Apple had a big hit, but they still made money.
They're doing okay.
They're going to be all right.
I heard a really interesting fact about Apple from that one about the Apple Watch. So I think it's 90% of smartwatches sold are Apple Watches, and they are now the #1 watchmaker of any kind in the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
They beat Rolex. They beat
in the last quarter.
Timex. They beat
in the last
Swatch.
quarter. They sold more watches, that one company, than all the Swiss watch companies combined.
Combined. Well, and
it's interesting though, because being the #1 watchmaker is like being the #1 Broadway play. Like, compared to movies, you're not making that much.
Yeah.
So it's like
they're the Hamilton of wearables.
But Tim Cook, the CEO, did say that it was the best-selling quarter for.
Yes.
And it's this Series 3 Apple Watch, and even I really did not like, and I thought the Apple Watch was technically a flop for the first few generations, have taken to wear it every day because I found and I think this is true of everybody, you find one or two things that for you particularly sell it, and then you wear it.
It's an interesting product.
You're wearing
category.
yours.
I'm wearing mine. I have the old one, but they've been just chipping away at it.
It's
And
kind of like it's a gradual
into something really great, and took a while, and it's sort of low key, but it happened, and they never gave up on it, and it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting story.
Watch, I guess, is other. In this, Jason Snell does these great pie charts or charts of all kinds every year. Love them.
It's considered other.
Is the Beats/headphone product?
Yeah, that's
stuff
in there too.
In the other as well.
Apple TV is other. 70% of the revenue for Apple calls it Q1. It's the last quarter of the year, their Christmas buying quarter. 70% revenue is from iPhone,
and it's down year over year, and nobody panicked. I thought that was.
It was down a little bit, 1%.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll talk about that because there were all these rumors that the iPhone 10 is underperforming, and maybe it is, not substantially. Maybe it is. I don't know. 70% iPhone. It's a big driver for Apple. 7% iPad. That was up, by the way. And Mac sales, 8% of total revenue. And I think Mac sales were down slightly from year over year as well as quarter to quarter. That's a little disappointing because I purely selfishly want Apple not to abandon the Macintosh.
Right.
But as it becomes a shrinking portion of their revenue and
Yeah.
profits, it's going to look worse and worse. Big growth in services, 10%.
Apple Music.
It's music. It's mostly probably the App Store and iCloud.
iCloud
Big.
storage, where they yell at you right when you hit
Right. They're always
200.
nagging
Yeah.
me.
They're like, hey,
More
hey,
money. You need to send us more money. We're broke.
Yep.
More money.
I know.
Even though iPhone sales down 1%, revenue up 13%.
Yeah.
And that's because it's an expensive as
Well, it's what happens when you sell $1,000 iPhone 10s.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's interesting to see a fairly, hefty jump in iPad sales, best iPad sales since 2016.
iPad Pro.
Now that they can
10.5.
actually multitask.
I think the $329 iPad probably helped too, right?
Yeah,
The low cost. They don't break it down, but
I love that. I love that 10.5 iPad Pro.
Oh, isn't
that was
it
the
great?
first
Love
one
it.
that
that's what you're
That's what
using.
I
I
have
got it
right
with
here.
a pencil. pencil. I absolutely love it. And I had been like, I don't really need an iPad anymore after I got the first Plus iPhone. I was just like, why don't we go like the 6 Plus? I was like, I don't really need this. And then now I'm like, oh man, how do I live without this? Reading comics on it is just spectacular.
And there's just more people who go into what's my next device going to be for general browsing, email, et cetera, et cetera. And I just think the Surface Pro,
Easy
quite
choice.
honestly, opened that kind of possibility up of really thin plus a keyboard. Boom, it's what you need. It's going to fit into a purse or a bag or what have you. And I just think that has officially, that doesn't mean the iPad is this incredible Apple saving device, but I do think that is beginning to be a real piece of the what's my next machine going to be conversation. That was not the case during iPad's roughest years.
Yeah, I did not take a laptop to CES this year.
Wow.
I took my iPad.
I've
I
been
needed.
lately traveling
great.
with my iPad 10.5 as well. It's still not a Mac.
No.
And I
No,
use the Mac. I actually bought the iMac Pro. You're welcome, Tim. Because I like the Mac for certain things, for programming, for video editing, for photo editing.
Sure. Same.
Right? You have to have a Mac. And if you're going to develop, this is why I don't imagine Apple will abandon it. If you're going to write the next great app, at least for now, you're writing it on a Mac.
There's a lot of talk about unifying the operating systems or having, iPad apps.
Sort of
running
hybrid.
on Mac
Yeah.
OS.
But as Bleak in our chat room is saying, you see that ad where the kid's going throughout the
Right.
whole day on on her iPad, and then somebody says, "Put your computer away." She says, "What's a computer?"
Right. So I think,
Exactly.
I'm too young to feel that old.
What are you turning the lights out? Is that it? Is the show over?
It's a commentary.
That's the 2-minute warning
Super Bowl
for
starts
the coin toss.
in
That's
15
2-minute
minutes.
warning for
Okay,
coin
let's
toss.
go. Okay, we got to hurry. Let me do 4 more ads and then we'll be done. Okay. No, actually, the bottom line is revenue. Apple revenue. Record year for revenue and profits. A quarter for revenue and profits. Again. $88.3 billion in revenue.
Yes. And
even after a big tax hit, profit $20 billion in 3 months. That's almost $7 billion a month just in the bank. Luca Maestri, Apple's CFO, says when we get our money back from Europe, where they've been holding on to it.
They've been hiding it.
They've been hiding it from us. No, Apple.
Dashing it under a bunch of European mattresses.
We know what you were up to. You were up to the double Irish and the Dutch. Was it the double Irish and the Dutch
Something
sandwich?
like that,
I think that's
yeah.
what it is. It always makes me hungry.
And those are actual products in the Apple cafeteria. You can buy those.
They
delicious.
should be. And for dessert, we'll be serving a double Irish with a Dutch sandwich. Because they've been keeping all this almost $260 billion overseas.
Yeah.
They're going to pay $38 billion to get it back, 15% tax rate, but they will get it back. Luca Maestri says, we're spending it. We're going to go down to zero. We're getting rid of it.
Right.
Most of it will go to stock buybacks, which benefits shareholders, and dividends. They did announce a dividend, and that's because I've learned from Horace Dediu at Asimco that this is really the shareholders' money.
That's right. It's not Apple's money to spend on another headquarters or something like that. It belongs to the shareholders.
They will spend, they said, $30 billion on another headquarters, but you can only spend it. The theory is you could, and I don't think it's legally binding, but I think that you're expected by shareholders to only spend it on something that's going to increase revenue.
Right. Yeah.
It's good. It's R&D. Right. It's more factories. It's more employees. It's something that's going to build revenue. So we'll get something ultimately.
Right.
But Lucas says all the money's going, into mostly into buybacks and dividends, and then somewhat into a new headquarters. Probably a call center headquarters. Right. The thinking is.
I think they should build a massive, shiny headquarters in San Francisco, and then build a custom tunnel between Cupertino and San Francisco.
I know a guy who can bore that tunnel.
Yeah.
They should have Elon to get the boring company out there.
Okay, tell me, Ashley, you bought one of those flamethrowers.
Of course I did.
You did.
Yeah,
of course I did.
Bought one as well.
I tweeted about it.
You bought one too, Sam?
Well, no, not myself. Ron Amadeo. He bought what we now know is going to be not a flamethrower.
Elon says they can't ship it overseas because they won't allow delivery of flamethrowers, so they're calling it the Boring Company, not a flamethrower.
Fire extinguisher not included.
And it's not really a flamethrower. It doesn't throw flames. It's a short throw. It's a very short throw. That's why they're legal in California. Yeah, not with that attitude.
No, it actually does come with a fire extinguisher.
All right, Ashley, I invite you.
You get a free fire extinguisher.
Oh, it does come with a fire extinguisher.
It does come with a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, they changed it. That's going to get that
you got a free gift.
Now.
At first, he said, you can buy our fire extinguisher, a highly overpriced fire extinguisher. Now they're giving them to him. All right, good. You wouldn't want to stand in front of it. I mean, what are you saying? It's not a flamethrower. You can't.
2 to 3 feet. It's a very short throw.
A flamethrower.
It would never be in an Expendables film. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
A flamethrower throws
I grew up
liquid.
out in the Southern California desert. I've seen flamethrowers that are like homemade that should not be legal in any way, shape, or form.
I've used flamethrower. This is no flamethrower. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I've
flamethrowers are a good friend of mine.
Flamethrowers, sir, and you are no flamethrower. That's basically what that is.
Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, how do we get into that? Oh, yeah, boring a hole between Cupertino and San Francisco. Anyway,
that boring holes.
It was a very, very good year for Apple, and services did very well, and I think services is the thing to watch going forward. That's probably explains why Apple's putting $1 billion. In fact, now $1 billion doesn't seem enough. $1 billion into original programming.
It isn't enough. They should just buy Hollywood.
They should just buy Hollywood.
They could buy all the major studios.
But again, that's not what they would probably want to do. But they can hire people away as they have.
Risk. The Apple's going to put a bid in.
Apple's going to put a bid in to buy Netflix in 4 years. That's my guess.
Really?
So I was actually thinking for a while that they would want to buy Disney, and then I was convinced otherwise. I don't recall who convinced me, but
it's too big.
Too big. It's too much of a culture.
It's more employees than Apple has, so you'd have this real problem of bringing these two companies together.
It would become Disney culturally.
Yeah. It's very difficult to do that cultural assimilation. So, what did you say? You started saying something, Ashley, and we cut you off.
I think the Apple potentially buying Netflix thing is. Yeah. I say maybe. It's hard to say, just because they'd have to really give, Reed a really good number. And even then, like, I don't know. I feel like they're doing, great, like creating their own original content. And
yeah, what's wrong with Apple
I
just
wonder
doing?
if, like, Apple and Amazon get into a bidding war for Netflix if they ever wanted to sell.
Wait. In what way is Apple succeeding with original content?
They haven't up to
that
now.
was my
It's been
question.
terrible.
I meant Netflix.
Netflix. Oh yeah, absolutely.
But admittedly, Apple fumbled with what was it called? The App Show was terrible.
Yeah, the App Show was
Planet of the
terrible,
Apps.
and they took
Planet
over
of the
Carpool
Apps.
Karaoke was terrible.
Terrible. But
these are, again, like, these are choices that are being made by somebody or people who are used to developing technology and not television. And so I get that they're bringing people on board to do this, but you got to spend money to make money in TV and media. And it doesn't seem like Apple's really willing to make that investment yet.
The problem with Carpool Karaoke is that they made it 4K. Just ruined it. Trying to get a rise.
You got your rise, sir.
Cam's going to quit.
but Apple,
Cam quits.
after the flops, hired 2 executives from Sony. They've been hiring executives.
Let's hope they're not IT executives.
No.
Oh.
And they've been making deals. They've got some very good deals. Drew Barrymore has come along. They're going to spend billions. I think Apple has turned the corner. I mean, we haven't seen the programming yet.
So Apple does these things. I think when Apple's intending to do something huge in the future, they dabble in it. They put their toe in the water. And the same thing with self-driving cars. They just they just moved from 3 to 27 self-driving cars. I'm sure you'll hear about this on Ashley's show tomorrow. And in the original program, they want to see what it's like before they buy Netflix or something like that. I have the feeling that that's what it's all about. It's they're sort of telegraphing intention to dominate some category. They're not going to spend $1 billion and be a.
But Ashley, what would you say if I said that the 2 executives they hired from Sony Pictures Television oversaw Breaking Bad?
Yeah, see, these are good choices.
See, now you're getting good people.
It's exactly what Mike's saying. Like, it's very much, Apple has never been at the forefront in the way of, like, a brand new thing that no one's ever seen before. Usually they take sort of bits of ideas from things that exist and then polish them to an extent that, like, Blizzard does this really well in video games, the same thing. So they don't necessarily take risks the way that people would like them to. But what they do is they find these ideas. And that's why there's that running gag of, like, oh, Apple claimed to have invented XYZ feature when Android's had it for 5 years or whatever. And it's just that they polish it to an extent that it feels new, like, to a lot of people who haven't maybe used that feature before or who have experienced it and found it to be clunky on other devices or other types of hardware. That's not to say it's perfect, because iOS 11 is kind of a mess. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, Apple very much is a company that, like Mike was saying, like, this is a dip your toe in the water. Let's really understand what it means to be in this business. And then once we do that, we can really go all in, either by buying a company like Netflix, expanding and opening Apple Studios in Los Angeles. I mean, you already have Beats here in Century City. Why not, buy the Sony lot? Why not, there's a lot of different ways that this could go. So for me, it feels like Apple very much, like, I agree with Mike, where they're really dipping their toe in it to understand it fully.
They've been so behind on media things for years, though, in terms of Apple Music still not being anywhere near Spotify, in terms of how many Apple TVs, have tried and failed.
Spotify. Apple Music is about to pass Spotify.
I mean, I don't see that as a great product as much as they're on phones.
Yeah.
I just mean the Apple TV and other things that Apple has never been a company that anyone in the mainstream, let alone us dorks, would say, oh yeah, they really get it when it comes to media. They've really done well with the iOS App Store space. And that's, where their services are kicking butt. And, so I think it makes sense for them to.
Problems.
Yeah.
Like,
With
even
Apple
in the
Music,
App Store, it's like search is kind of a mess. It's hard for new developers to be noticed because, you only get, 2 to 3 apps now on your screen. It's just, it's hard. And and Apple, I think, really, like, historically just isn't great at software experiences. And I think media is now software. And so for me, it's very much like
that's
that
a different
experience
Apple
that you have in your Apple TV. ties into the
Apple
experience you
now
have
has,
watching an original show.
Apple now has 36 million paid global users. That's up 6 million from September. Now, Spotify has 70 million, but Apple Music is actually growing faster. The Wall Street Journal said yesterday they think that Apple is on track to actually overtake Spotify in U.S. subscribers. They've been growing. Apple's been growing 5% a month. Spotify 2% a month. So
how long though? How long did they say it would take?
On track if the current trend stays exactly as it is, which it's not. I mean, they could either start kicking butt way faster, or Spotify can shift. It's one of the two.
I think look what, so one of the things that I think Apple wants to prop up Apple Music with is his original programming. They've done a deal with Steven Spielberg to bring back Amazing Stories. That's meh, but, it's a Spielberg, right? They bought a true crime bestseller called Are You Sleeping? Reese Witherspoon will produce it. It's being written by the woman who wrote The Good Wife, and Justified will star Octavia Spencer. I mean, are you thinking? I mean, this is Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston are going to star in a morning show drama, a morning talk show.
This all looks super white.
It is very white.
This looks like a lot of white
but
producers.
They are working with Dre
like
to do
more.
a TV show too,
Does
right?
Dre still work for Apple?
He works for Beats.
He works for Dre.
He works for Dre.
Actually, like they forgot.
All right,
about
how
Dre.
about this one? If you like sci-fi, a guy named Ronald D. Moore, he wrote the newer Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Co-executive produced Fargo the show will be co-executive produced by Matt Wolpert and Ben Nadivi of Fargo. I mean, this is they've got Kristen Wiig to do a comedy
series. So clearly they've got their finger in a media pie. I think it'd be really interesting if they combined Apple Music and a TV product and said, hey, you got your phone. Look, we're going to give you a free trial of this combined video audio service that Siri will control, that you'll use I mean, they have an opportunity. They have their finger in enough pies to eventually go, boom, we're that one thing, just like they did with the iPod and the iPhone. They could. That's the nice thing about having that much money and that many eyeballs, is that they aren't really that far away from coming up with that lightning crack. Even the watch is evidence of that.
So Dre's show will be called Vital Signs, a 6-episode miniseries. Okay, I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy this. Each one focuses on an emotion: vengeance, ego, negativity, innocence. It's supposed to be semi-autobiographical. That's the old one. They've now hired Damien Chazelle, creator of La La Land and Whiplash, to do a series. They've got this is ambitious, to say the least. This is Netflix. Well, this is why I don't think they need to acquire Netflix.
You can have these great shows, but the thing is if the delivery vehicle is bad, if the platform experience, if the user experience is bad,
do you think Apple TV is a bad experience?
Not necessarily, no. But
you can now get Amazon Apple TV and YouTube TV. YouTube TV is on it, and I just this week. Which means I can watch the Super Bowl on Apple TV. That's interesting.
I was shocked actually last night. I did a Siri voice search for a specific channel on YouTube, found it like that. Nothing to it. And I thought, wow, that's pretty great.
I agree. Apple's been through a rough period, but I feel like the ecosystem play is starting to pay off.
Yeah.
Oh, also, sure. I mean, when you own the vertical.
Right.
The list, I just want to point out the list of all those shows you listed off. Those are just tentative and in the cloud, a lot of that stuff. Right. How many of those will actually become, production shows is a whole nother question. That's good for Apple to have all those things in a row.
At least a year away, minimum. And that's if something's in production now.
Yeah. So
I'm interested. I'm interested in seeing. We'll see. I can't imagine them buying Netflix. I feel like they are clearly showing that they want to invent it inside Apple.
Yeah. I have a hard time imagining Netflix wanting to sell, so that I would be
you throw enough money at anybody. Right.
That's true. Everyone has a price.
Let's take a break. We still have more to talk about. Google's results are also in. Not quite as rosy as Apple's, but we'll have something to say about that. Our show today brought to you by My Mattress. Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price, made in the USA, designed to create an exceptional sleep experience one night at a time. Casper's mattress is obsessively engineered to give you just the right support, just the right sink, just the right bounce. Plus, it's breathable, which helps you sleep cool. I have to say, once I started sleeping on a Casper, I never had another one of those sweaty nights, which you hate. Even in the winter, more even in the winter because of heat in the house. Regulate your temperature throughout the night. A Casper mattress is long-lasting. It's comfortable. You can buy it easily online. I know, wait a minute. You're saying, but I want to try it first. You can in your house at night for 100 nights. There's no risk at all. Free delivery, painless returns within a 100-day period. If at any point in that 100 days you say, I like my old mattress, they'll take the Casper away, and they'll refund you every penny. Casper mattresses uphold the highest environmental production standards. They're made in the U.S. You open the box, surprisingly compact. It goes, whoosh, and there's your mattress. Smells great. I have had other mattresses I've had to air out for a long time before I really liked the smell, right? No, I don't know how they do it, but Casper is fresh from day one. Free shipping and returns in the U.S., Canada, and the U.K. now. And here's the deal. Get your Casper mattress today and save $50 by going to casper.com/twit. $50 off select mattresses by entering the promo code TWIT at checkout. Casper.com/twit. Promo code TWIT to save $50 on select mattresses. Terms and conditions apply. I love my Casper. You will too. And if you don't, no harm, no foul. Casper.com/twit.
Nobody sends back their Casper mattress.
You know,
did you spend your entire night trying to climb telephone poles in Philadelphia?
They're so slippery.
Are you exhausted?
Why did they get so slippery?
It's a Casper mattress.
Why did they get so slippery? See, you know how to do. That's a good ad pitch. You know how to do that. That's good, Ashley. I appreciate that. So, Alphabet has a new chairman, John Hennessy, chairman of the board, I guess, replacing Eric Schmidt. He left last year. Don't know who he is. Does it matter?
Inventor of liquor, Hennessy. I'm kidding. I have no idea.
He could be.
Probably not accurate.
He could be a brandy mogul. He could be. We don't know.
Does it feel like the whole Alphabet thing was a big flop?
Yes.
I think the press has trouble even using the A word. It's like everybody wants to call everybody Google. It's a big problem. It's complicated.
Yeah,
Nobody
even when we
cares
talk about
Alphabet.
these results, we say it's kind of like the Google results.
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
Right?
I just wrote a piece where I was talking about Waymo, and you got to say right off the front, you formerly Google, blah blah blah. It's a long story because the fact of it hasn't gelled or hasn't been accepted by the public somehow.
Well, the reason is because they need other divisions to do the evil that Google cannot.
That's so true. That's a good point.
Right.
Good point.
If you look at the fine print on their
Boston
various
Dynamics.
websites, it's like kind of evil, a
little more evil, maybe not
sometimes.
So. Yeah, revenue was up, beat the street 24% year over year, but earnings were down, and they underperformed the estimates, which means the stock took a hit, of course.
Yeah.
Earnings were $9.70 per share. Revenue $4.7 billion. The other bets, which are everything but Google, $409 million. Paid clicks up 43%, but year over year the cost per click went down 14%, per quarter 6%. Is that worrisome? What's the difference between paid? I don't understand that. I don't even understand the nomenclature here. Paid clicks up 43%. Cost per click. Oh, so they sold more ads, but the amount of money they made per click went down.
Right. Because of competition, no doubt, from Facebook and Amazon.
You have to think both of those present real issues for Facebook. I mean, for Google.
Yeah.
Or Alphabet or whatever the hell they call it these days. The traffic
so hard to explain that to people.
I know. It's Google.
It's the worst.
We'll
like, it's Alphabet, but it's really Google. Sorry.
There's a number TechCrunch says you should pay attention to, TAC, T-A-C, which is traffic acquisition, how much they spend to get traffic as a percentage of revenue. It's going up.
It's going up. It's getting harder to get people to do their business thing.
Interesting.
Go along
so they have
with
to spend more
schemes.
money to get the same amount of people.
Yep.
That's probably, that's like you said, Mike, it's definitely due to competition from sites like Facebook.
Yep.
TechCrunch, Matthew Lindley says it's a fourth quarter whiff. Is it that bad? Net loss, but most of that's the $9.9 billion they paid in taxes. That's where the loss really came from.
I think the most interesting way to think about Alphabet is that Google itself, you talked about this on Twig, is become a boring company.
It's boring.
Not an Elon Musk boring company. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think that seems to be by design. because the CEO, what's his name? Blanking on the CEO's name. He's a boring guy. I mean, he's a keep the trains running on time kind of a person. He's not a visionary. He's not a risk taker. And then meanwhile, I think what's interesting, though, is that the long-term prospects for Alphabet are massive. The stuff they're doing in biotech and all this other stuff, this is going to pay off in 5, 10, 15 years. I think they, reversing what I said about the mistake of Alphabet before, I think the seeds that they're planting now are going to be redwood forests. And they're going to be huge in the future. I think there's going to be a lullish period over the next 5 years.
All right, so you're bullish.
I'm super bullish.
Yeah.
And
the lull
Sundar
of
Pichai is his name.
the present term lull, they need a real butt kicker of a smartphone to fill that gap. And we know that they've got HTC maybe not being a terrible company.
That deal
Google.
closed. They spent $1 billion plus for 2,000 engineers, the engineers who built the Pixel.
And if
Pixel
they
2.
can make, the Pixel picked up a little bit of buzz, but also had some launch issues. If they get a Pixel 3 out that isn't garbage, I think there's enough room in all of the smartphone landscapes where loyalty can be chipped away at. And if they can just really get out there and get either something affordable with the best camera in the world or something that, laser scans your face and gives you a free puppy, I don't know what it'll take, but there's still room for them to essentially get super aggressive in the hardware master space that they're going for now that they're no longer doing the Nexus thing of saying, you guys make this thing and we'll give it a better version of vanilla Android.
Though. There's no vision. I mean, all this stuff about buy Motorola, sell Motorola, buy HTC. So it's like they need, look at what Apple did. They claim to have invented the touch phone, and they just been on a trajectory into space ever since. Very solid. You never thought, well, maybe Apple will get out of the phone business. No, there's no confusion.
Yeah.
And
no
Google
question.
needs to pick a strategy and stick to it to the end. Otherwise, it's going to be problematic.
Is
no matter how
Google,
I think
though,
Mike
a
felt
hardware?
like-
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ashley. Go ahead.
Oh, I was. It's okay. Thank you. I'm just curious, Mike. Like, do you think that Google now owning the smartphone division of HTC, these 2,000 engineers who made the Pixel 2, do you think that now sort of them owning the vertical, both in the way of the software, now the hardware, like they are going to sort of own that process? Do you think that it might result in a phone that people are more compelled to buy because they trust it more, in the same vein as like people who buy iPhones tend to trust Apple because they own that vertical, they own that space? And it does feel like Google is sort of finally taking that page and saying, oh yeah, we should probably just own the vertical here.
No, I don't. I don't think, I hate to say it in the present company, but I don't think the public, the phone buying public, pays that much attention to the minutia of tech news. I think what will do the trick is if they have a stellar reputation year after year for 3 or 4 years, and then the conventional wisdom becomes, Google's phones are amazing. If that becomes
it's tough because at least in the U.S., and it's very different around the world, but in the U.S., what really matters is you go into the phone store, and the guy says, well, we have this iPhone X, we have this iPhone 8, and we have this Samsung S8 or soon to be S9. And they don't mention the Google phone. This killed Microsoft because you could never get Verizon to mention a Windows phone to save your life.
To recommend it.
It put them right out of business. It put BlackBerry out of business. Huawei's even admitting this, that when they just lost both Verizon and AT&T as carriers for their their Mate 10. And they said, that's it. We're going to sell it, but it won't be. It cannot win in the U.S. without carrier support.
My argument.
I don't think the carriers offer. I mean, I went into the T-Mobile store, and you see a Pixel 2, but I don't know if they really push it.
I think
there's
that
nobody hard pushing it.
The Pixel 2 set, I think, the table a little bit to get people who buzz about and write about and vlog about gadgets to say the Pixel 2 is a thing. We weren't hearing that about the Pixel. I just know all the review roundups I saw last year, those sort of quote unquote influencers were really actually picking up on the Pixel 2 for whatever reason.
Except, Sam, the lasting impression most people have is it had a burn-in on the screen. That there were issues with it, right? Isn't that what most people are going to think?
That, and I think my question really is the table setting that I'm talking about, that I really did see play out in November and December when people were picking out Christmas gifts. did that leave the impression? And whatever the next Pixel is, we will see that unfold, whether that does get into that very short sentence of what the dude at the store says. So this is the Pixel 3 or whatever it is sort of the last shot right now in that Google needs to be bullish thing that we're talking about. This is their real shot of having a right now, hey, we matter in smartphones way, as opposed to they're not really doing anything interesting way. There's a little bit of a gap for the next 4 or 5 months that they have an opportunity to fill. And I think going bullish on HTC might set them up to do something with that, but it's all question marks right now.
So here's my question. Is hardware really that important to Google? That is, I don't know if, is it important?
1.1 billion.
That's nothing. What was their revenue? I mean, it's a fraction of their revenue.
Right. So, I mean, you take that number.
But to have that data, hardware has to be important because of the data they can get by having more and more users using Pixel phones. Like, to me, for them, that is the more valuable bit. But to get that, hardware has to matter to them.
We were talking on the radio show about Movie Pass. You know, this is the company that sells you for $10 a month or $100 a year unlimited movie tickets, which makes no sense because they pay the full freight for the tickets. And where they make it up is you have to install the Movie Pass app on your phone. They collect data that is very valuable. They know a lot about you. They can use that data in selling, marketing to movie companies. They're even now, he said at Sundance, the CEO said at Sundance, we're going to start buying movies. And it's all because of the marketing data they have from you using that app. So you're absolutely right. The data that Google gets from a Pixel phone is so valuable. But then you have to ask, well, why are they selling these phones at such a premium price?
Going full circle, this is what Nielsen should do. Nielsen should have an app that gives you wild discounts on various paid TV, like maybe Apple TV, whatever it is. And then they should, as part of the permissions process,
give it away.
Let us listen through your phone at what you're watching.
Well, they're already doing that, I think.
Yeah, I thought they already had something of that
sort.
Some
apps are listening.
Yeah.
TiVo, you know, not only sells the data about what you watch on the TiVo, but even what you rewound, when you're interested.
You skip.
Yeah, everything that you do.
It's like
TiVo,
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube knows all that, sure. And that was my original contention, is that in the long run, Amazon and Facebook and Google, Amazon probably second to Google and Facebook, have a huge inside track on advertising. And that's really a lot of revenue. That's going to drive a lot of
Amazon is going to catch up, though, with all of the devices, the home assistant devices that they're selling. And the other thing is so there was a story a while back about how Amazon was working on putting ads into the Echo, right? And so people were like freaking out on Twitter and everything. And all I could think was it would make sense if Amazon implemented that very similarly to how they do the Kindle, which is to say, if you want to get an Echo Dot, that'll cost you, $50. But if you want to get one with ads, well, if you have an Amazon Prime membership, we'll send it to you for free.
Yep.
And
Even
then they
more
get
than
all
that.
that data.
Even
they get
more
all that data.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's such a good, it would be such a brilliant thing on their part. It's kind of gross, but because they're, they want your information. But the thing is some people are willing to trade that. That is an okay trade for them.
Even more than that, if you're Google and Amazon and Facebook, you're not looking at today or next year. You're looking down the road.
Right.
And the battle right now, I think, is joined between Google and Amazon over what will replace the smartphone, over wearables and over voice assistants. And Amazon's great lead with Echo right now is something they need to capitalize on right now. You have, I love your headline in Ars Technica, Sam Mashkovich. Alexa, print money. Even Bezos stunned by Amazon's Q4 income. We'll talk about that in just a second. I really think the battle is shaping up over voice, over wearables, Google and Amazon, right?
Yep.
And Apple is a distant. I mean, I'm going to get my HomePod in a few days, but it's really not a competitor at this point.
Right.
I skipped it.
Yeah, I have to get it. I probably would have skipped it. Although
Siri's not good enough yet.
Although
I don't.
I'm not going to bet against Apple's ecosystem play.
Right.
So you have to use Apple Music. You got the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch got me to use the Apple phone more. The Apple phone got me to use the iPad more. The iPad got me to use the Mac more. The HomePod's going to get me to use Apple Music more. The Apple TV. It's all starting to congeal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's set.
No, that's a good point. And a lot of people really love that. They want it to be a seamless, easy experience. And if Apple can give that to people, then, good on them. Like I can't argue with that. Right. I think that's a good idea. I've been trying to stay like slightly platform agnostic, and I have Sonos in my house. Like that's like my jam. And so I've been like, I haven't tried out the new Play, the new Play one where they have, or the Sonos one where they have the voice assistant availability in it. But yeah, I'm very curious as to how that speaker, because it is expensive for people. And so how that speaker will do on the market compared to, other speakers. Is audio quality that important to people that they're willing to spend $400 as opposed to $79 for an
That's
Echo?
not the issue. That's not see, Apple's always the exception in these things. It's not really a comparison between one speaker and another speaker. Apple has this little market where people who love Apple buy all the Apple things. And guess what? That's half the global market.
And they're relatively price insensitive.
Right.
I mean, I think Apple can say iPhone 10 price maybe knocked that sales down a little bit. They're watching that though. They're saying, well, yeah. Well, that's the thing.
I would say 1% was that. They're selling less iPhones, but at $1,000 a piece.
Yes,
and
they're making more money. Yes.
I could see the HomePod having an Apple Watch trajectory because we're talking. How many of you guys have those on your wrists today? That was not the case when it first came out, so that could be a thing. Yeah. I do want to say when we talk about speech being a big platform of watching us and all of our data and which companies are there, let's not forget Facebook owning Oculus. Oculus is not about virtual reality bulky headsets for them. That is not the play. Oculus is about a giant research team that is interested in how we look at and how we listen to data. They have crazy stuff going on at their offices in terms of building out something we talk about at Play for the future of how we access our digital world with voice, with augmented things, and Apple definitely has a play in augmented reality in terms of phone play, but that is going to also be huge, and that is going to be something that doesn't play out right now because people think of augmented and virtual reality as bulky, inconvenient stuff. That will change, and every company sees it that way, and so does Amazon.
I think you're exactly right. In fact, that's
got it.
Since we said the next thing is what matters, Apple's got to find a successor to the iPhone.
Yeah.
And AR is going to be, right?
It's glasses.
It's glasses. Or maybe hearables as well.
Right. And the glasses will absolutely be, Siri will be right there all the time when you're wearing.
But can it be glasses? Because
I don't think it's going to be glasses.
And I don't want to switch to some dorky like Google Glass looking thing. Like I don't want that. I want to be able, if you have a technology I can get installed into my frames. That's
exactly what they're doing. If you look at Apple's been rumored to be partnering for some time with Carl Zeiss, which has the in-lens. They look kind of like bifocals, and other technologies like that. I mean, absolutely, you're right. When it's not going to break until they look like regular glasses, but that is going to happen. It probably will happen in 7 or 8 years.
I don't think it's not even that it's not going to break when they have to look like normal glasses. It's going to break when you can put them in any frame that you want. I think that's
here's my bet. Here's my bet
at the optometrist office.
My bet is not everybody likes to wear glasses, but everyone likes to wear headphones. So mark my words, the tech that we're all going to have that's going to do augmented things and listening to us all the time will fit conveniently on our ears. That's my bet.
But see, this all the conversations that everybody has about augmented reality are based on not really knowing what the future of augmented reality will be like as an experience. It's going to be completely great. It's going to be completely mind-blowing, and everybody is going to wear glasses. Even people with 20/20 vision, everybody's going to want to wear glasses in 5 years.
I think it's going to be a projection. I think it's going to be more holographic coming off of something that you can just clip onto an ear. That's my bet.
Eventually. I mean, the first step is to have glasses that don't look totally horrible. But like 15 years ago, everybody wasn't wearing this is a behavior that has changed. I also don't think the in-the-ear thing is all that great. You can't wear anything in your ears for 18 hours a day, but you can have glasses on for 18 hours a day. And through better bone conduction, I think that or maybe a combination, it can become something that's like you get up in the morning, you put them on, and you take them off at the end of the day, and they're all day. The batteries are all day. The experience is all day, all of it.
10 years from now, we're going to look back at this show and see if you were right.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If you have bone conduction at the end of your lenses, on the arms, behind your ears,
on the temple
in
pieces,
some fashion, that would work really well.
Yeah. It would sound like somebody's talking to you.
That freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah,
You guys remember the amazing moments of
Yeah.
Mr. Lincoln at Disneyland where you put those really thick headphones on and they would play us? You were like a Civil War soldier and you'd go get a haircut and you could hear this sound, and the way that the audio was mixed, it sounded like your hair was actually being cut. It was horrific. Really amazing.
It's the
audio
future.
mixing,
The future is
but
fake haircuts.
absolutely
Plastic
horrific. It
surgery.
was terrifying.
I think, actually, I'll be honest with you. I think Facebook is going to be the loser in this.
Yeah.
I really don't think Facebook is in great. But Oculus Rift may be their last hope. But I have a feel. I think the world is turning against.
They'll get into something else.
The world is turning. Well, yeah, they got a lot of money. But
We've had a lot of people turn against social media in general. I think I think it will be very interesting. This is a thing that I'm dying to see. I can't wait to see it when I'm old. Is Gen Z, or I think what are they calling them? The I generation, right? Like I generation.
Ugh.
I'll just call them Gen Z for intent and purposes. Kids right now, they are social, but they are not so hyper connected. They understand, like, because they've grown up in it. It's like Bane in Batman. They are born into it, and it's not this sort of. There's a really interesting, like the kids that I know are absolutely, they love their cell phones. They are hyper connected kids. They understand the internet. Like, they are extremely tapped into the like public consciousness online. But on that same note, they're very angry at social media. They're very just kind of like, ugh, I don't want to use this.
Yes,
like, I just want to talk to my friend. Like, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I
Generation
would
X feels
love,
that way
I
too.
can't wait to see
Everybody's
how
starting to feel that
they
way.
move forward
Yeah.
in the way of shaping what that landscape is in 20 years.
Facebook thinks it's machine learning, and Facebook thinks it's all the data they're getting from every different app ecosystem they have. Instagram, WhatsApp, all these other things. I mean, that was part of their quarterly results talk, was just talking about all of the data they're picking up to understand. And they're really obsessed with meaningful interactions. They keep saying this publicly. And what they really mean is they are looking at the data of people who are burning out. They
Yes.
are aware of
Yes,
it.
they
You know,
know.
they wound up not being MySpace for a reason. That doesn't mean that they are completely fated to escape that fate.
Facebook intentionally took a hit in time spent because they were worried about this very thing. And they've been saying this.
Blowback.
Yeah, blowback. And they've been saying this, that people who participate actively have a much more positive experience than people who passively consume content on Facebook. I think there's a wild card. I'm just going to throw this in, and we have to take a break. But I think there's a wild card here, and it has to do with this backlash over social. I think some of the backlash is also about privacy, and it's also about security. And I think the wild card here is, and I'm not an Apple booster in general, but I think the wild card here is Apple has an opportunity playing the card security, playing this card privacy.
Yeah.
Stay in our ecosystem. Everything works better. You're secure. We're not spying on you. We're not an ad. By the way, the only reason Apple is not in the ad business is because they tried and failed.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't.
Right.
It's not some great magical, we're better. I mean, they're playing it that way. But they tried with Apple ads, and iAds was a massive failure.
Apple is surprisingly
Didn't go
bad at a
well.
large number of things.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah.
But the ecosystem is stronger than all of it. And I think it's possible, it's a wild card, that none of this will matter if privacy, security, and the backlash against social happen, that people may just go flock to Apple as a safe space.
Yeah.
You think?
That's what a lot of people like that with Nintendo. I mean, the fact that there is not full open voice chat. It's very curated. It's very tightly knit. It's not open. I mean, and a lot of people really like that. A lot of people prefer that. And so, as opposed to going on, say, PC and, having to deal with voice chat, which is a nightmare. It's a terrible nightmare. But like Nintendo is like, no, like we're going to do it a little bit differently, and we want to keep people's information private and kind of. And I think a lot of, especially parents, like that is very appealing to them. But I do think that, like you said, there's very much this sort of awareness of kind of the we're starting to see now these like studies come out about the dangers of social media, these higher instances of depression and anxiety because people are watching other people's highlight reels and comparing them to their own just mundane everyday life.
Ironically, this was Facebook's own research.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that at the end of the day, like that is a very interesting kind of wild card, and it's not unrealistic.
Yeah. All right, let's take a little break. We'll come back with more. Sam Mascovich is here. He's the culture editor, tech culture editor at Ars Technica. Always a pleasure. At Sam
Happy to
Red
be here. Yep.
On the Twitter. He's giving up his Super Bowl for us.
My Super Bowl. That's it. That is absolutely it. I am the sports guy, clearly, as you can see by all of my sports regalia behind me.
Is that Hello Kitty behind you?
Oh, there's all kind of crap. If you could win, I'll give you $1 for every single thing back there that you can actually recognize. I actually have my most weird thing is a board game that's still in the shrink wrap called Bedmaster, which is a very rare, I believe like 10 of its kind, that is like a swingers board game that was made in the 70s that I found for $5.
Bedmaster.
I've never played it, I swear, but that is groovy. The weirdest thing of all the crap I have.
Are you sad, Ashley Esquetha, that they're shutting? What was the Weebles server? What is it they call the little Wii? Are they shutting that down?
I don't know. What is
Miitomo?
Miitomo. That's it.
Terrible app.
They're shutting down honestly, like it was cute for like 5 minutes.
Miitomo.
Miitomo. Yeah.
Miitomo.
Cute. Super cute. But the thing is like, one, I didn't realize this, but if you connect your Miitomo to your Nintendo account and then you get a Nintendo Switch, it actually recommends you as a friend to like everyone you've ever friended in Miitomo. So a whole bunch of people that I didn't know that I randomly friended in Miitomo were asking me to friend them on Nintendo Switch, and I felt really bad because I had to decline them all because I'm like, I don't know you. And I don't it's weird. Like I'm very like kind of private about my gamer tags and handles and all that stuff. And so cool idea. And also I wish the technology for the Miis, the way they're designed and everything, would make its way over to Nintendo Switch, because it's still really boring and primitive. And you actually had some options for like fashion and hairstyles and accessories and stuff that were really cool.
They're
and
killing this, aren't they? Or not?
I know they're killing it. I hope they take the technology and put it into the Mii creation tool on the Switch. That's what I'm hoping for.
Ashley's at CNET.
Rest in peace, Miitomo. We hardly knew ye.
Watch her tomorrow in a brand new show, a brand new part of the road show or something. We don't know. Find out tomorrow morning on CNET.com. And Mike Elgin, Fast Company, Computer World, Elgin.com. He is our digital nomad.
That's right. And quick plug, the Prosecco experience in the Prosecco Hills region of Italy, literally paradise on earth. We've got room for 2 more people, 1 more couple.
Gastronomad.net.
We'd love that to be somebody from the Twit army. So check it out, gastronomad.net.
So would I.
Yeah.
When is that trip? When is it? What's happening?
Maybe it could be Ashley Esquetha.
That is in...
Well, my best friend is getting married in Italy in October.
This is in May.
Yeah, this is in May.
So I'm going to keep an eye on your experiences, though, because that seems like maybe something that I could take advantage of.
Totally.
You've got a whole schedule now. You've really... I think we're going to do the Morocco experience in 2019. That's the one
that's going to be amazing.
We're aiming at that one. And Prosecco next year as well.
We're doing 2 Proseccos, but the one coming up...
Last chance, almost full.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
They cook.
Mike, can you do me a favor and in 2020 do a Tokyo experience where we go to the Olympic Games? We go to the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games, and then we go to Mario Nintendo World at Universal Studios. That's what I want.
We're going
anything for you, Ashley.
In the spring, in a couple of months, Ashley. We're going to Osaka and Tokyo, and I want to.
Did they give you a mustache?
I want to do the Mario Kart where you drive around the tour. They put you a suit on. That you look like Mario or
waiting
Luigi.
for it. Cannot wait to throw bananas at moving cars. It's going to be awesome.
You drive a little go-kart. It's a Mario Kart tour of Osaka or Tokyo. We're doing it for sure.
That sounds literally like one of the best things that's
I'm
ever
sure
been
that it's
invented.
totally safe, but if anybody were killed, what an obit.
What an obit. He died.
Cause of death. Well,
as his hero.
He died as he lived, playing Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
That blue shell, man.
Gets you every time. You got to make sure you carry a horn with you. You got to get that horn so you can crack blue shells.
Our show today. Do you notice that the air quality in the studio is better? You probably don't.
No, it is. It's nice. I can tell.
We had to do this because there was the fires and everything was smoky, and then they were tarring the roof and it was horrible. Tar is the worst. And then they were painting. And so we got this molecule thing. I have one at home. I have one in the studio. Michael has one. Go ahead, you can bring me the molecule. The air quality will slowly decrease in quality.
It looks like a giant Echo, doesn't it?
It does. You almost can talk to it. You compare
Echo.
it to your phone. So the idea, though, this is not a HEPA filter. That is 1940s, literally, technology that just tries to filter out stuff in the air. There has not been really in air filtration much improvement since the HEPA filter. You still see people touting that. This is PECO technology, PECO, photo electrochemical oxidation. It goes well beyond a HEPA filter, captures and eliminates allergens, mold, bacteria. See, bacteria is so small, it goes right through a HEPA filter. Viruses, even airborne chemicals. I'm talking about pollutants 1,000 times smaller than anything a HEPA filter can catch. And I have to say, Lisa used to get headaches. She started to suffer from allergies. We live out in the country with grasses and molds, and she was getting headaches every night. We put the molecule in the bedroom, and she said, I haven't had a headache since, she says.
Leo, I'm sorry to interrupt, but, out here in agricultural area, there's a lot of weird stuff that agriculture does.
You need this, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You get all sorts of stuff in the air. But it's also great for offices. The sick office syndrome where you can't open windows. You put this in there. The technology in this is high tech. It was funded by the EPA, extensively tested by real people. It's been tested and verified by university laboratories at the University of South Florida's Center for Biological Defense, the University of Minnesota's Particle Calibration Laboratory. It's really easy to use. You pair it with your phone. You pair it with your Wi-Fi. You don't have to. It has controls on the top. But if you pair it with your phone, it has this great advantage. It will send you new filters when you need them. We've been using it for 6 months, and we just got our new filter. There's 2 filters, including that PECO filter, which is actually a catalyst. So it traps the molecules, and then this light, if burns, it's hard to describe. Go read the website. It's beautifully designed. They call it the Apple of air filters. And here's some good news. They just got a whole bunch more in. They've been selling so fast that they've been running out. Now the whole new shipment came in, so it's a good chance to get molecule. You can connect it, control it to your Wi-Fi, control it remotely from your smartphone. I can turn it on and off from here. Truthfully, we just leave it on in silent mode in our, and we have the light turn off at night, so it doesn't bother us at night. But when it comes on, it burns off everything collected over the night. You don't have to use the Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi capabilities. It's got a button on the top. You're going to save $75 off your first order. I really love this product. Molecule, MOLEKULE.com. Enter the promo code TWIT. If you've had asthma, allergies, breathing problems, if you're concerned about mold, any kind of VOCs, paint in the air, smoke in the air, this you got to get. I poo-pooed all of these ionizers and HEPA filters for years. I've tried them, never did anything. This one actually does a lot. MOLEKULE.com. Promo code TWIT for the molecule. I know it's a little pricey at $7.99, but I got to tell you, and you do get $75 off if you use our TWIT offer code, but I got to tell you, it is worth every penny.
Yeah.
We bought another one for here. We bought another one for Michael for his room. It just really works. Back to the show. We had a great week. Actually, you know what I want to show you real quickly? The highlight reel. This is what happened on Twit this week.
Previously on Twit.
This is a sit-stand desk. This allows you to raise and lower this.
So dopey.
To where you need it to be. Probably not designed for people quite as tall as you.
iOS Today.
It's time for the first episode of Subscription Survivor.
Boom, 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 boom. You start looking at like your credit card or your bank statements, and all these little $5 charges. They like nibble away at you.
Mm-hmm. Death by 1,000 subscriptions.
Yes,
that's what I call it.
Exactly. So today we're going to talk about that and how to fix it.
The new screensavers.
You could see the ruins under the trees in the Guatemalan forest. Archaeologist Thomas Garrison, a National Geographic explorer, and his team used LiDAR to scan the forest.
We spent about 8 years of our field seasons trying to do a really detailed map of that city. That probably cost us over $100,000 over the time that we did it. And LiDAR one flight, and
One
you
day.
get so much more than that.
One day.
And it does it better than we do.
Twit, coming to you from 38 degrees 14 minutes north, 122 degrees 38 minutes west.
Really? That's where we are? By the way, that LiDAR is so cool. There's going to be a National Geographic special on the 6th. Is that that's day after tomorrow about that they mapped the Guatemala rainforest, and they found all these new ruins.
Oh, cool.
I'm a huge fan of the Mayan world and that culture, and I've been to those places, and at Tikal especially, which is where one of those is. You can go on one of these pyramids that pokes out of the top, and you look out, and it's just, you see forest. You can't tell what's there. And they actually have realized that there's millions more people who lived in that world than they thought, and it includes, they found these raised roads.
Yeah, they're
they could
seeing
travel
roads.
from
Yes.
city to city.
It's amazing.
Yeah, incredible. This is the biggest archaeological news in a decade, at least.
Really? Wow.
I think so.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
I think it's huge.
Wow. Well, I'll be watching that on Tuesday, the National Geographic. Amazon print money. Bezos, really? Was he stunned? Was he stunned, Sam Mashkovich?
The thing about this quarterly release that was an interesting takeaway was that Amazon had predicted an operating income of a certain amount of up to, I can't remember the exact number, but they exceeded their own estimate for how much money they were going to make this past quarter by 69%. Like their top end estimate, they exceeded. And they don't say exactly why, except there's one quote from Bezos saying, yeah, our Echo devices are doing well. And when you look at the number, the way that they describe all the stuff, there's so much, so many little bullet points in the release. But the big one, there were two that I noticed, was one that Echo sold tens of millions of units in the past year. And then they pointed out that their Kindles took 11 years to sell, quote unquote, tens of millions.
Wow.
So it sounds like they're not saying exactly, but that in about a year that the Echo line is essentially getting to that Kindle level of saturation, which is insane.
But
and I think the Dot is the real driver. They essentially said it's $30. This thing, the speaker is good enough. That's what the review said, and that's what I found, is the speaker is good enough. You can plug it into one of your spare ones in a pinch if you want to listen to music, but if you just want to dip your toe in, so there's that half of it, and everybody is creating skills. There are so many companies that are making these skills that are so easy to get running. You can just say a phrase that your Echo doesn't support, and it'll boop, 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 search for that skill, install it for you, and tell you about it on your app. And people are really embracing this, whether you're playing Jeopardy on the thing or playing with some of these games or weird radio show things or using company-specific Alexa voice skills. It's happening, and that really matters. And I'm really sorry. I actually just turned my own device on by breaking our rule. Sorry about that.
Call it Echo.
There's no question
the other $1
that
billion that they didn't note was children accidentally ordering stuff
Dollhouses.
on it. So it's just $1 billion of revenue there.
Little tiny electric cars. So there's no question that the Echo is super successful, and I thought this was pretty obvious that this was going to happen years ago. And I used to write columns 3 years ago saying, "Oh, this is going to be a problem for Apple. This is going to clobber everybody." And a lot of people were kind of like, "Oh, you're crazy." But no, this is clearly a great play. They're succeeding wildly. But it always bothers me, this Amazon thing that they do, where they say, "Oh, we're wildly successful." Well, how many? We're not going to tell you, but trust us, we're hugely successful. We're selling so many. How many? Well, we're not going to say. They do this with Kindles. They do this with all the stuff that they sell. They come out with these dumb things like, oh, the Kindle sold better on Amazon than any other tablet. Well, what does that mean?
It's number one.
They always kind of spin it, this sense of success, but they don't pony up and say what's the actual number. They never say it. Bugs me.
Do you think, Mike, though, this is like a trend that's happening? Because we see this with Netflix. Like they don't actually give numbers anymore. Like these companies are kind of moving into that space, like you said, where it's sort of a very hard spin to make their product look number one in some respect, and it's like, I think that is maybe not. Like, I don't love it. I hate it. I think it's the worst.
The problem is us, though. It's the tech press. We're so compliant.
We care. No one else cares.
We want numbers,
and we just regurgitate everything they say, and we just say, oh, they're so successful. And we should be holding them to account. If this is politics, we'd be doing that. We should be holding them to account and say, how many exactly?
Well, this is the big shift from brick and mortar to online sales, is that with brick and mortar, there were so many other traditional firms that tracked sales and estimates And that goes away when everything shifts to just have it delivered to your door and have the man unlock your door with the device that the company sells you and all this insanity. So that's absolutely in their favor. Why give us the data if they don't have to? Those numbers are used in order to talk to companies and say, this is why you should come to our platform. This is, that it's considered proprietary sales information. This is all confidential because that data is used. So
do compare this, though, to Apple. So Apple's profit this quarter was $20 billion. Right. Everybody's all excited because fourth quarter profits for Amazon were $1.9 billion, 1/10 as much. Right. But at the same time, it's like how many quarters now that if they had profit, they've really kind of started admitting that they can make money, which is something I think Jeff Bezos avoided for quite some time.
They avoided until Wall Street got so fed up with it that now they're making they're throwing.
He controls this totally, right?
Totally.
The minimum amount of information they can get away with.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos personally is by far the richest person who ever lived. I think the latest number I saw was 123.5 billion or something like that. 124.
Over $100 billion. Anything over $100 billion, it doesn't really. Who's counting?
He's ridiculously rich. Him and one other billionaire could eradicate all poverty in the United States.
Yeah. Well, instead, he's building weird things in downtown Seattle, like the Spheres, which we call Bezos's. Starts with a B, rhymes with halls.
Oh my God! Hey,
Biosphere.
You went to the Amazon Go store, right, Sam?
I did. I've been a few times now. It's I keep trying to steal from it, and I fail to. They keep accurately charging me every time I go in and take things and walk out.
So you really can't. There's no shoplifting in a store like that.
I'm curious how it works because I've been, now that I've been a few times and have tested and played around, I know there's cameras everywhere. There's more cameras in the store than the maximum number of people allowed as per the fire marshal. So it's over 100 and it's a max of 90 as per the fire marshal.
Oh, that's interesting.
So there's that. Yeah. And they all look like little 2.5-inch hard drives with little tiny green dots that are where the sensors are. And all of the shelves are designed in such a way that certain products can only fit in certain spots. There's people watching all the inventory, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the last time I went, I did a couple of weird things. I did a wardrobe change in the middle of the store. So that the outfit I walked in wearing was different than what I walked out with.
So clever.
Things like that. I also at one point grabbed some items that were stuck together and pulled them out in such a way that it looked like I only took one of them. It took an hour and 20 minutes to be charged for that shopping trip. Normally it takes about 10 minutes. I wonder how much they're doing to manually check when things seem a little fishy. So I was, in fact, you can request a refund if they get things wrong. And I was afraid to hit the refund button because I feel like I was watched very carefully for the exact amount of stuff that I did take on that shopping trip.
You could get banned.
One of the things that they don't, one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about is that those shelves are actually scales. They can tell the weight of the thing you took off. They look at your history of what you bought before, and they factor that in. They look at your face. They know where your phone is. It's like
now I'll tell you the scales thing. Data. There's no scales on those shelves. I've been in there. There's no mechanisms. They have sensors behind on the back of the shelves. It is all cameras. There's no RFID chips. You take a Coke can, it is just a Coke can. They're all about the sensors.
Well, and if you wouldn't necessarily see the scales. I mean, like my oven has scales, but
based on the way that these, I picked around and tried to move little things around and all that. Whatever would be weight sensitive may very well be built in, but I do believe it is more about visual tracking. And if you look at the quarterly results, they talk about how they are selling this tech to other companies for watching warehouse employees, watching retail shoppers and everything. This is a product. And this is, putting the store is really selling other companies on what they could get if they bought into Amazon's vision of tracking customers.
I know that at least their earlier version did have scales. They may have changed it. But the point is that they're integrating all this thing, and I agree with you. I think that there are people who are double checking things behind the scenes. That was the case with Facebook's M. Anything that's super magic AI where money's involved, they always have a staff of like 20,000 people like sorting through and making sure.
Did you see people in the store, Sam? I mean, like employees?
I mean, the whole place has people walking around with their own little tablets, checking inventory, moving products around so they look attractive. There's also a giant window with a kitchen as you walk to the store. It's as if Amazon is saying, we haven't replaced workers. We're just having them do things for you, such as make fresh food.
Do things more interesting, frankly, than just...
Instead of having... instead of having a cashier, instead of having that wait process. Because it is, for those who don't know, you scan a phone, walk in, buy things, and then you don't even scan anything on the way out. You just leave. And then 10 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes later, based on my experience, you'll get the thing that tells you exactly what you bought and charge you for it.
And it would be a little silly for anybody to accuse Amazon of not hiring people. They literally employ like 500,000 people.
Although the wages are crappy jobs. I just saw a study that said when an Amazon warehouse moves in, yes, there are more jobs, but average income goes down.
Amazon just patented a wrist device for an employee that can track not only your movements and your location, but also what you're doing with your hands. And that triggered a whole bunch, when I tweeted it, that triggered a whole bunch of onistically oriented commentary about what you're doing with your hands.
What's interesting about Amazon, though, and I think the store is telling, is they're not trying to eliminate jobs. They're trying to make the customer's experience seamless, frictionless. And
let's back up.
That fits better into the Amazon I understand, right? They want to make your experience better.
Yeah, well, they want your experience to be better because they want to own the entire shopping experience. I mean, that's what the store is trying to finish, is we own the cloud, we own the credit card processing, we own so many things in the online space, and now we're going to own the data in the offline real world space. They want to know exactly how we shop for pushing more stuff at us. That's really it.
Yeah.
Which brings us to Amazon Health. Amazon and I love your explanation.
I'm very like,
Sam's going,
just two words. I don't put those two words together very often.
Amazon and Health. The joint press release was much more limited than I might imagine the plan is.
Right.
But they've partnered with Berkshire Hathaway and a big financial company, J.P. Morgan Chase.
Also associated with health.
Really?
No.
Associated with lots of money. They say address
rich people's wallets.
Address the health care for their employees. But, one has to assume that what Amazon's up to is testing something on their employees that eventually they'd like to scale up and do. It'd be interesting to see if the crisis in American healthcare is solved not by, say, a single payer system from government or some sort of health plan like Medicare, but in fact by private corporations.
It already
using efficiencies.
Most of the innovation
technology
comes that way. Ben Thompson. Everybody's talking about Ben Thompson's analysis, which is really, really brilliant. But he points out that Kaiser Permanente started out as a trucking company or something like that.
It was an aluminum company, and they created for their employees it's effectively an HMO that I use and I still use, and it works very well. So, I mentioned that as well when we first talked about Amazon Health. But Ben's analysis is, as always, very astute. We try to get him on the show, but it's hard for him because he's in Taiwan, and it's early morning. He drives his kids to school during the time we do the show. So we'll get him. But what he says is, don't assume that they want to do a single-payer health system. But what they might be, his analysis of Amazon is that their goal in everything is to take a fraction of all economic activity. And what if they want to take a skim off of all economic activity, given that healthcare is 17.9% of GDP?
Yeah, and
this would be a good thing to skim. But is it Amazon's going to be a health insurance company? Is it they're going to be providing health, or more likely, according to him, they're going to build out infrastructure for healthcare suppliers
and interfaces, and they're going to drive costs down. I'm kind of rooting for Amazon, surprisingly, in this, because the healthcare system in the United States is so ridiculous now. We pay so much more, and the outcomes are so much worse than a lot of other places. And as he astutely points out, everybody's moving in a different direction in terms of incentives. The medical industrial complex, meaning the pharmaceutical companies and the healthcare providers, want you to have maximal health problems so they can give you drugs and have hospitalization. The insurance companies want to reduce costs, and the consumers who have insurance don't care. So it's like everybody's got a different. If you can get everybody rowing in the same direction, you could bring down costs and boost quality.
Sure, and administration costs would go down. We spend a huge amount of our health budget in the United States, not on healthcare, but on administration.
Get in the Amazon ambulance, they'll have you delivered to the hospital and overnight. It's like
but if you got to pay for Prime if you want immediately within the next hour.
So he says Amazon, he's not going to create an insurance company to compete with other insurance companies or the other pieces of infrastructure. Amazon will make it possible and desirable for individual, this is really interesting, individual healthcare providers to come onto their platform directly, doctors, hospitals, pharmacies. In other words, it's a platform doing exactly what Amazon's done in every other respect. When you buy stuff from Amazon, you often buy from a company that's not related to Amazon.
I look forward to the rating system on that. How many your doctor gets 5 stars or gets review bombed or whatever.
Berkshire Hathaway is a big health reinsurer. They insure insurance companies, which is interesting. And, of course, you need financing. You need capital, and that's where J.P. Morgan Chase comes in. Ben says, needless to say, what I sketched out is extremely ambitious. It's easy to let one's mind run wild when it comes to a company without a name, management team, or a location. This is very early days. He even points out the press release was very modest in its ambitions. And we've seen technology solutions to the health crisis, Google Health and Microsoft Health, which have not done much. But I think if you're Jeff Bezos, you're absolutely thinking, how can I get that skim off that big health bill? And I think Jeff's fairly progressive and maybe make the world a better place.
Maybe. I certainly think that Jeff Bezos is currently the most visionary CEO in tech today. And he's visionary in a smart business sense, not in terms of a great product sense, but in terms of like, how can I make myself the richest person in history sense? And I really don't think they do things small, especially something like healthcare, which is so enormous, so much money to be made. I think, Ben, it's right to sort of say, give a caveat that there's no location, et cetera. But Amazon goes big on this stuff. And long-term, they think long-term. That's why they succeed, because they think long-term. They make really smart moves. They tweak it. They try lots of things. So I really think this is this is the most significant news in the world of healthcare.
I think so.
In
potentially
several years. Yeah. I mean, this is big news.
I'm like, I feel like kind of icky about this. And I think the reason why is because I think about a company like Amazon, who has traditionally not treated its workers super well. Did I lose everybody?
Nope. We're still here.
No, we're listening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
We're fascinated. We're wrapped.
My sound just got cut really hard. It was really weird.
I can hear a pin drop.
But Amazon is a company that traditionally has not treated its employees very well. And there are rumors that we see all the time, every year, at least every quarter or 6 months, we see these stories come out of, even in executive levels of management and things like that. There's people saying that the turnover is very high. There's so much churn happening at Amazon. And so it's one of those things where I feel like obviously no one is going to be a disruptor in the way of our government here in the United States. Like, I don't see that happening for a long time. So some disruption is great. And I think in that way, I'm glad Amazon is, stepping forward and saying, we want to disrupt the space, because it does need disruption and it needs to be pulled forward into the 21st century. But on that same note, there's just so many ways that if you think about the worst case scenario, it just seems so Orwellian.
Can I piggyback on this?
Yes, please.
Yeah, because we're already seeing at Whole Foods, they're struggling to keep produce on the shelves because of the changing of the inventory system that's coming with Amazon.
That inventory system was switched before Amazon bought it. That was
I know. I'm segueing that into worrying about whether they can keep the kidneys in stock, but also Amazon is notorious.
I'm sorry, sir. Seattle. We're all out of kidneys. Would you like a new heart?
Sorry.
Notorious around Seattle for a lack of charitable works. It is not a company that gives a lot to Seattle. They took over a space called Mary's Place just as a reaction when local press said, why don't you you're not philanthropic around Seattle the way other Microsoft and companies like that are. They're very much in that Ayn Randian libertarian state, and that can maybe shake up healthcare, but I do also worry in terms of their general humanitarian track record is not as awesome as other tech companies that make sure to put that piece forward. So when you're saying we're going to really be there for the most important business of all of human life, yeah, I'm anxious as well.
They're the ultimate mixed bag. I mean, have they benefited literacy or have they not? Have they ruined it by wrecking the publishing companies, or have they saved it by making literate literate works more affordable.
I'm probably
and available.
projecting.
I think somebody was going to fill that space.
I put myself in Jeff Bezos's brain, and I'm thinking these things are distractions for him. He clearly has a vision of some kind to get a skim of all the economic activity. Okay, maybe that's it. Maybe he is totally driven by money. But I think I think it would be a mistake to say, well, because they're not philanthropic, they're not humanitarian. I just think that Jeff at this point thinks the most humanitarian thing he could do is to focus and move forward with whatever this vision is. Ben, I think, makes a really good case that what you're seeing here is a disruption of a post-World War II economic system, not just in healthcare, but in general, and that the institutions don't just slowly, one by one, fall like 10 pins, but instead the edifice gets hollowed out from the inside. It seems to be standing, and then when it collapses far quicker than anyone expected. What it takes is a lot of patience and somebody who's willing to say, oh, I thought we'd have put publishers out of business by now. This is taking too long. No, somebody's got a really long-term vision. Jeff is undeniably very smart about how he's going about this and doing it. Not that he doesn't make mistakes, but it's planned, it's thoughtful, right?
Right.
And I think you shouldn't assume he's anti-humanitarian. I feel like he probably is fairly progressive, but he just this is not my mission right now. Somebody else can do the charitable work. We'll have plenty of time for that later. Bill Gates famously said that. He said, I'm not going to do charity until I can devote enough time to do it right. Look at Mark Zuckerberg giving millions to Newark, just throwing it away.
Right.
Gates, once he was retired, did focus entirely on a charity. But you might have said years ago, oh, Bill Gates, he's not a humanitarian. I don't think that you should tar him with that brush. I do think there's something going on, and I think Jeff Bezos is somebody very interesting, at least as interesting as, Steve Jobs was, or Tim Cook, or even Elon Musk.
And in the same way as Steve Jobs would look at the basic formula for Apple under Steve Jobs was, let's look at the future and see what's going to be happening. Let's see who's providing that technology today and all the things that are wrong with that technology. Let's fix all those things that are wrong and then come in that market right as it's on the upswing with something that's way better than anything else. That's kind of and that's what he's theoretically doing with healthcare.
Yeah.
And the thing that has to be, talk about humanitarianism, how humanitarian is the current medical system. It's actually a disaster. If you're poor in America, you get terrible healthcare. If you're wealthy, you probably get the best health care in the world. But if you're a poor single mother, your infancy mortality rate is down there with a sort of like a third world country. So it's like the current situation is a catastrophe. And if you can improve that in any way,
couldn't get any worse.
I mean,
well, actually, it could.
But he specializes in the one thing we need: bring down the costs.
Here we are in a rich country with great technology, super advanced medicine, and we get about the worst medical care in the developed world there is for the money we spend.
For the average people, yes.
It's very unfortunate. I just wonder. I am very concerned about what happens when your employer also becomes your health insurer and your health provider. Like that to me seems very dangerous, and it has to be done well, and it has to be done right, and it has to be done compassionately. And based
I don't think that's what he's doing, by the way.
We don't know what he's doing.
I don't think that's what he's doing. I think Ben's right. He's not creating a healthcare system. He's creating a platform that individual providers can sit on and stop worrying about, administration is a huge percentage of the cost of healthcare. Just stop worrying about that.
I mean, ultimately, whatever happens.
Go ahead.
Yeah, whatever ultimately happens is we have Amazon's track record, and we also have an American healthcare world that has very, very rigid big pharma that's very interested in continuing to make a lot of money. So whatever comes forward is not going to happen as super fast as we would love a smart, nimble business to pull off. So whatever does happen, there is money in it and opportunity. Yeah, there's
but we know Amazon wants to take that on. They've been getting pharmacy licenses in many states. I mean, they're slow. the problem is you won't know until it's done whether Bezos is benign, evil. It's going to happen, and we're going to be stuck with it. We're going to be living in a new world order.
When he's the emperor of the world.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's hard. You got to read the tea leaves, but it's very hard. I don't know how easy it is to understand what his strategy is, but I have a feeling we'll be talking a lot more about this in the years to come. Let's take a break, wrap this thing up. We've been having so much fun with Sam and Ashley and Mike, and I almost hate to slow it down and stop it, but there's a Super Bowl going on, I think.
Let's not stop it. Let's just slow it down.
Come on, Leo. Give us your best ad-adjacent superb owl ad read right now.
Well, if you think about it, Super Bowl is about a couple of things. Yeah, football. Yeah,
Maybe.
Commercials. In my mind, Super Bowl is about eating.
That's right.
It's really about food, isn't it?
It is. It's about food. Good food. and beer.
And beer. Beer and food.
Very good.
Actually, Blue Apron has wine now.
I know.
Oh, it's so great. They have wine pairings with every Blue Apron meal.
They know all about wine, so you don't have to.
That's right. I love Blue Apron. Blue Apron delivers all the ingredients to your door you need to make an amazing meal tonight for your Super Bowl family. They set the highest standard for ingredients. Their goal is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone while supporting a more sustainable food system and building a community of home chefs. It is fun to cook, but it's daunting. You've got to plan a meal. You've got to shop for the meal. You got to choose the right ingredients. You got to figure it all out. Blue Apron makes it so simple. Fresh, pre-portioned ingredients, step-by-step recipes. They come to your door. You can come in 45 minutes or less. Save money, too, by the way. They're less than shopping for yourself. They offer 12 new recipes every week. You pick 2, 3, or 4 based on what fits your schedule. It's not a subscription. You don't have to get a box unless you go there and you look at the menu and pick what you want. The menu changes all the time based on what's in season. They never repeat a recipe more than once a year. Although lately they're bringing back fan favorites, which is really fun. Some of the recipes I'd never tried before, like strip steak and potatoes with spicy maple collard greens. Can I just say, if you master collard greens, your life will change forever. And that's one thing that happens with Blue Apron. I will make these, and then I'll go, oh, I get it. And from then on, I have now a new ingredient in my repertoire: spicy chicken and stir-fried vegetables with jasmine rice, soy-glazed Korean rice cakes. This is a vegetarian one. Soy-glazed Korean rice cakes with broccoli and soft-boiled eggs. I mean, my mouth is, I don't know about you, my mouth is watering. Creamy fusilli bucati pasta. Again, a new ingredient to me that is amazing. I love bucati pasta now. With fried rosemary. I never fried rosemary and walnuts.
Some of the ingredients they send you can't find in the store. You'd have to go to some obscure
stuff I had to order.
Right.
But now I know and I can use it, and it really has made me a better cook. Plus, it's fun. The family plan and get the kids involved, and nothing's better than having your kids learn how to cook. And there's just something magical about cooking with your family and just making an amazing meal for them, even if you've never cooked before, especially if you've never cooked before. This is an eye-opener. Incredible ingredients, chef-designed recipes, the best. Blue Apron lets you see what the power of food can do. And we're treating you to $30 off your first order, plus free shipping if you go to blueapron.com/twit. blueapron.com/twit. Check out this week's menu and get $30 off and free shipping. blueapron.com/twit. Blue Apron's a better way to cook. I did not get my Super Bowl dip from Blue Apron. And if I tell you what it is, you'll say, no, you definitely did not. This was a producer at Tech TV used to make this. And now, out of nostalgia, you get a hunk of cream cheese.
Oh, boy.
And a can of chili. And you put them in the crock pot. And you melt it all together. Then you get
farts.
Oh, you get more than farts. You get these big, the big dipping Fritos. Man, that's good eating. Not Blue Apron quality, but
easy.
Well,
just dump it in.
Oh boy,
it's simmering in the crock pot right now, waiting for me. So yes, Ash?
Our neighbors across the street one year for New Year's Eve, she's like, "Come in, come." We don't hang out with them a whole lot. It's just like, come in and have chips and dip with us. And she's like, oh, I have to make it. And she got a giant block of cream cheese, a can of chili, and a block of Velveeta.
Oh, she's fancy.
And just put it all in a bowl and threw it in the microwave.
Yeah, you can micro it.
2 minutes and just stirred it up and was like, dip's ready. And I was like, oh boy, I've never eaten that before in my whole life. And it was delicious. And I hated how much I enjoyed it.
I know. I hate it. And you'll
So
hate it
good.
tomorrow even more. I'm just saying.
Please, America, don't double dip. Just put the chip in,
Yeah, don't
put it in your
double
mouth,
dip.
and end it.
Yeah, just because the chip's big,
Yeah.
don't get tempted.
True.
And have I missed any stories? There were a lot of Nintendo
advice.
stories. Mario Kart's coming to smartphones, not till 2019, though. I hate to even say it because it gets everybody excited. And, although it's good news, it looks like Nintendo really has done well with its first foray into smartphone apps, and we'll do more. I'm glad to hear that.
Except for Miitomo. We're not going to talk about that.
Don't want Miitomo.
So don't get me started on Nintendo smartphone apps. We'll have another hour on the line.
What do you think? What do you think about the rumor Microsoft might buy Electronic Arts?
No, not even close. This was a guy getting information from a source where Microsoft said, we're looking into buying things. That happens like every 5 days at Microsoft. We have a lot of money. Who could we possibly acquire? What's the risk analysis? I mean, EA's stock went up $1 bazillion even without that information. There's just so much value in that, and they wouldn't get much payoff. They're going to go for something that is known but small. So Minecraft is like the best example of the kind of company that or company kind of product that they would go for, a company known for one thing that's successful that they can make t-shirts and Lego sets out of. And so therefore PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which is a huge game right now, and it's on Xbox One, it's the console exclusive, their publisher is more likely to be bought out because it is a company with one successful, we could sell shirts based on it kind of product. So that's what I see possibly those guys as well. That's the kind of product that they would go after. EA, too big a portfolio, too much like negativity in the mix with all their loot box crap.
So much negativity right now. Whew.
But I have to say, I don't know. Do you guys agree that Microsoft has been a wonderful steward for Minecraft?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to there's a Minecraft Chemistry Edition coming out.
Well, they didn't mess it up. They kept on publishing it on other systems, and that was huge because they understood it's about owning the entire chain, not about making it Windows only. And that, I think there have been some smarter folks in the gaming and Xbox teams at Microsoft that understand the long play is not, it has to only be on Xbox as much as we at Microsoft are going to have legitimate things all over the place. So
and that's why I don't think PUBG
We want the IP everywhere.
PUBG's not quite as good a fit. Minecraft has this great educational potential. I mean, you can get kids into the Microsoft universe in all sorts of interesting ways.
In HoloLens.
Oh yeah, won't that be fun?
Walk
building,
around.
You look at
those demos that they've shown off at Build is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or should we just go home?
I have to go right about the two crazy things that were just teased at the Superb Owl. Number one, the first solo film trailer is it was only like 20 seconds, but it's there. Chewbacca's in it. So that's great. And then number two, Netflix just announced a Cloverfield movie that's going to screen as soon as the Super Bowl's over.
What?
Done.
Wow.
Netflix killing it.
J.J. Abrams produced it.
Killing it.
That's happening.
This is why Apple needs to buy them.
Killing it. No. I mean, Netflix, stay away from Apple. Just keep doing what you're doing.
That's what I say.
Same to you, Sam Mashkovich, Ars Technica. Keep doing what you're doing. Tech Culture Editor at Sam Red on the Twitter. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm going to keep doing this dance until you cut me off. Yeah.
Go right about the solo. Stay on him. Stay on him. Right about the solo tease.
Black Mirror season 5. Sam dancing forever.
Yikes. Ginger nightmares for everyone. Yes.
Yikes. That's Ashley Esquetha. We love Ashley. Always great to have you on from CNET, and I look forward to seeing what you're doing, what you drop tomorrow at cnet.com. She's at Ashley Esquetha on the Twitter. Thank you so much for being here.
Always a pleasure.
And thank you, my good friend Mike Elgin, for coming up on Super Bowl Sunday.
My pleasure. Quick plug, Mike's List. I brought it back.
I've
resurrected it.
You're doing it again?
It's bigger and better than ever. It's free. It's weekly, and it's literally the greatest tech newsletter in the history of mankind.
It is.
Check it out at elgin.com.
It is literally, and I'm so glad you're doing it again.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's fun.
It's full of good, juicy tips and stuff and
crazy.
If you like Twit, you'll actually
robots.
really like Mike's List. Yeah. Nice. Thank you, Mike. Thank you all for being here. We do Twit. Normally, we do it a little bit later in the day. We did it early today so we can get out of here early and watch Justin Timberlake rip off Janet Jackson's costume. No, that's not going to happen. I'm pretty sure of that.
Never know.
You never know.
He's still and he also won't apologize for it either. So that's
he said, "I didn't know. It was a breakaway bra. I didn't know."
Seemed planned to me. The whole thing seemed planned.
The whole thing was planned. Of course it was.
We're still talking about it, aren't we?
It took Justin Timberlake, 15 years to get back on the Super Bowl stage. We do this show normally 3 p.m. Pacific on Sundays. That's 6 p.m. Eastern, 2300 UTC. Come on and watch it live at twit.tv/live. Chat in the chat room if you do at irc.twit.tv. You can even join us in studio. We've got a nice studio audience, all of whom were surprised that the show was already going when you arrived. And I apologize.
Surprise!
I decided to do that at the last minute as usual, but thank you for being here. Email tickets at twit.tv. We'll put a seat out for you. You guys are so cute. You've been holding hands the whole show. Are you newlyweds? You're still in love.
We're in the crowd work section of the show. Yes.
Yes, work in the crowd. Work in the crowd. If you want to be here, email tickets at twit.tv. Don't forget our survey is active for a few more days. We do this once a year to get a better idea of who's watching, who's listening. It's very helpful to us. And it's quick this time, just a few questions. twit.tv/survey. We are now heard on the Amazon Echo in new countries, Canada, Australia, India, I think in the UK. If you we're part of the Flash Briefing. So if you go to your Echo app and search in Flash Briefing for Twit, add it. We just do a couple of minutes from every show.
Do you do local accents for all of those?
I do local. I do an
Australia?
Indian version that's very good. And no, I don't. Hey, mate, it's time for... No, I don't do that.
You don't
do that.
You
No.
should think about it.
They're all bad, Leo. They're all bad.
Bad accents.
Hire locals to do the localization for you. That's what you got to do.
Good tip from Ashley Esquetha. Absolutely. But do look for us on your Echo app. I think you will enjoy the briefings that we prepare for you each day. Thanks for being here, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Another Twit.
This is amazing.
Bye-bye.